It's another good delivery, and Maya Boucher is quite happy just to get into line with that and play it out towards mid-wicket. And there is Cordelia Griffith, one of the familiar faces from Sunrisers. So basically the Sunrisers team, not quite lock, stock and barrel, but have transferred to the Essex women's professional side. So some familiar faces for those of you who've been following the Sunrisers. They're improving fortunes in recent years. And this is a good confident stroke away through the onside. That's the shot of the day so far. Picked up on length and cracked away for 4 by Boucher. She goes to double figures, she goes to 10. And Essex are starting with a couple of expensive overs here. 23 for no wicket, with 12 off the first, 11 off the second. So Hampshire will be very pleased with their start having been sent in. 23 for no wicket, Boucher 10, McCucken 13.
Apologies on behalf of Hampshire County Cricket Club for those of you that couldn't get the ground commentary for the first over and a bit, and also on the live picture feed. It's myself, Kevin James, and also Nick Glidhill from BBC Radio Essex, but we're all joined up now. Everything's on, somebody's put the money in the meter, and we are all ready to go. So a good start from Hampshire, and already there's a bowling change at our commentary end. It's going to be Esme McGregor, the 20-year-old right-arm medium pacer, taking over from Eva Gray. It's going to be McGacken to face, who's on 13. Third over coming up, runs away from us, low full toss, driven but not timed by McGacken, up to mid-on.
Often not the worst delivery, the low full toss, a surprise, particularly first up. Probably not what she was intending, a bit of a loosener, but it's a dot ball. But you feel that Essex need a bit of control here, and the way they can get that, I think, is by getting a wicket. So these two do look like they're looking to make a very fast start.
Yeah, well, they've been informed in the 50 over competition, that's for sure. She's cutting at that one and missing as it goes through to the keeper. Yes, McGacken just under 350 runs. In fact, 349 in the 8 matches that Hampshire have played in the One Day Cup so far. Reminder that they sit top of that table whilst it goes into a break, and she averages a fraction under 50 this year, and she got her first 50 over 100 up at Southport against Lancashire in a fantastic win where they chased down around about 300 to win that game. A slipper's come in. I think there was a little bit of movement there, Nick, for McGregor in those opening couple of deliveries, certainly the second one, and there's a bit of movement there, but nicely driven by McGacken out to deep point. And Hampshire move on to 24 without loss.
Still a good start from McGregor, albeit, let's say, the full toss probably wasn't intended, but it's a little bit more control in this over. But as I say, really a intriguing feature of this season, the integration of these two competitions, and let's hope that there's a good response around the country to see the women's games, and of course good attendances all round, hopefully. That's
for sure. McGregor bowls, it's driven away by Boucher out to deep point. A little stronger hit that time, again not allowing the batters to come through. I mentioned Boucher's in good form. She is 282 runs in the 8 matches so far in the One Day Cup, and she's averaging 35 with a top score of 77. So these two have been very much working in tandem as an opening partnership this season. Boucher has been playing for Hampshire women since 2019, would you believe? Right. Yes, he's been around on the scene. That's pulled away in the air, but safe between mid-wicket and mid-on. 4 runs for Ella McGacken, takes her on to 18, and Hampshire already a strong start, 29 without loss.
Yeah, just gave her the room there to play the shot, and with all that experience, she wasn't going to miss out. So, yeah, pretty comfortably put away, just dropping a little bit short, and easily able to put that one away through mid-wicket. Very firmly hit. And this fast start for Hampshire back on course again after a fairly quiet start of this over.
Yeah, here's McGregor again, bowls, and that's hit over the top, not quite timed, but just over the head of Griffiths, who's running back to the rope, won't catch it up, and 4 more to McGacken. Certainly wasn't out in the middle of the bat, but it had the desired end result, 4 runs. Hampshire move on to 33 without loss, and we've had just 3 overs.
Yeah, so Rachel Evans has got a little bit of a problem, because that over started pretty well, but effectively you've had 3 overs that have produced much the same in terms of runs. Obviously 3 overs for 33 tells you that obviously a little bit too much per over from the Essex liking, so they're going to have to hope that they can turn this round and say getting a couple of wickets, getting a breakthrough at least might just be the starting point for that, because say just a little bit of movement, but it still seems like a pretty good pitch as you expect here.
Going to get our first lot of spin.
Sophie Smale is going to have a go, and so within the power play we've got 7 saving ones. There have to be, with nobody at slip, and that's pretty useful first delivery. Just played up towards one of those 7 at a straightish mid-wicket, and there's no run. Maya Boucher's on strike. She's on 11. It's 33 for no wicket. We're in the 4th over. Hampshire sent in, and that one, attempt to pick the ball up. It's a wide. It's gone past the keeper, and it's going to go all the way to the rope for 4. So that's going to be wides, and just what Essex didn't want, because it means that obviously an extra ball's got to be bowled. An extra 5 runs have gone onto the total with the wide and the 4 extras. So. That's disappointing. It was down leg side and couldn't be stopped. Smale again with her left arm spin, bowls, and that's driven confidently. Not quite timed, but goes up towards long on for a single. And score goes to 39 for no wicket. So, as to be said, this is just the start that Hampshire would have wanted. Next delivery is driven, goes past cover, and it's going to be a chase back which might not be successful all the way to the extra cover boundary, and it isn't, and McCucken gets another 4. That one could have been stopped, but once it had got through the infield, it was always looking likely it was going to reach that boundary, and it looks like another expensive over, sadly, from the Essex point of view. Just can't get that economical over in at this stage in the power play. 43 for no wicket.
Amazing start. And that just...
Lovely drive.
It was. I mean, it wasn't particularly hard hit.
You're all timing. I say, once it got past that cover field, it was always had the timing to go for 4. This one played with a nice angled bat, and that'll be another 4. That won't be stopped. It's going to hit the rope now. Just a little bit short, dragged down. Again, no real power. It was all placement in the shot from McCucken, and bisecting back the point and cover for another 4. So early problems here for Essex. They will be facing a very large total, and as they can start to make some inroads, at least get some control in this Hampshire batting so far. 47 for no wicket. This is fired in by Smale and driven by McCucken for a single. After the 2-4, she gets a single to long on, and takes Hampshire along to 48 for no wicket. 1 ball short of the end of the 4th of 4 expensive overs from the Essex perspective. So Smale with her left arm spin from the pavilion end, bowls, and that's driven away up towards long on for a single. So a good comeback from Smale, just the 2 singles from the last 2 balls. But the problem remains that Hampshire rattling along at 12s. It is the power play, and it might be that some more control can be exerted once the field is set back. But it's just a start Hampshire would have wanted. Boucher and McCucken, particularly the latter, going along extremely well, 13 and 31 respectively, 49 for no wicket.
Well, I'm just looking across to my right, and Dearwell Brevis, the South African 22-year-old, who's over here for the Hampshire men's T20 competition. He's here the whole time. I spoke to him a couple of days ago, and he does sound like quite a fun guy. And his last 2 T20 tournaments, he's struck at 180 per 100 balls, which is unbelievable. And he did say he'd be watching this game from his hotel room before walking over and practicing with the men. And I think he's looking now thinking these 2 girls out there now are trying to emulate him, strike rates, as she pulls out of that one, Kate Kopak.
The big question is, Kevin, is he a big enough name to get Mohammed Abbas's old suite at the hotel?
Well, he looks like it might be a suite. I'm not quite sure. I know over that way they are. I'll have to ask him later.
He hasn't got a suite at Trent Bridge.
No. There's no hotels quite that close. He might have a suite somewhere else.
There's an inn, isn't there?
That's right. Yeah, the Trent Bridge Inn, just above the bar. Here comes Kopak. So work down the leg side. I think that's come off the boot. No,
must be able to be wide otherwise.
Yeah. So 49 with that loss, and we're into the 5th over. But he's been on there practicing his shots on the balcony. In fact, just as I speak now, he's gone into his room. Maybe he's heard me talking. I'm sure he's got the picture feed up on there. But he's been on his balcony practicing shots. But yeah, these girls are certainly trying to take an inspiration from him, I think. Kopak bowls, and it's hit away through extra cover. There'll be 4 runs, Maya Boucher. Nothing wrong with that one. The only thing that was wrong there was a wide delivery there from Kopak. and it just invited Maya Boucher to play an attacking shot. You don't bowl balls like that to Maya Boucher, to be honest. You don't bowl balls like that to anybody, but Boucher's been in good form. I say she had a really poor winter. She only averaged 6 in that Women's Ashes series. Her confidence was shot a little bit, but she's been playing well so far this season as Kopak runs away from us and bowls again. Just a good length ball, that's much better. And Boucher treats that with the respect.
Yes.
So the partnership of 53 comes in 26 balls, Nick.
Indeed, it's a very good start. To what extent is there sort of been integration from sides like the Southern Vipers, for example, into this team? I was saying there's a lot of the Sunrisers players in the Essex team.
Yeah, I think you've had 2 or 3 sort of chop and change. There's been a few more at Hampshire here. No Danny White-Hodge, who's gone to Surrey. No Georgia Elwes, which is a really big miss, who's gone to the Blaze. That's hit over the top, and that's going to be more runs. 1 bounce for 4 over mid-off. Lovely shot, Maya Boucher. Not too much wrong with that delivery. It's just that Maya Boucher, in the form that she's in and the way she does play, loves hitting down the ground. She moves on to 21. Emily Windsor, of course, done a bit of commentary. You would have done a bit of commentary with her in the past. She's up at Durham, there's also been Alice Monaghan. She's gone to Surrey, done really well for Surrey, actually. She looks totally a good player. And another spinner, Charlie Dean, of course. Thank you, Alex, who's sitting next to me. Charlie Dean's gone to Somerset. So, yeah, some big players have gone and not really been replaced. I think Hampshire have decided that they want to bring 1 or 2 youngsters through, and as befits them, sitting on the top of the table for the 50 over competition, is going well so far. Here's Kopak, certainly going well here. There's a reverse sweep there from Boucher, and that's going for 4. She's got hold of that one through third, and that has absolutely raced along this turf. And at the moment, these batters can do absolutely no wrong. They're really putting Essex under pressure.
They are. It's very, very tough this for the Essex women. It's about as tough an assignment as you can be handed away from home first up in this new competition. Just got to stay resilient, work for the breakthrough, and hope that they can just change the fortunes and change the momentum of the game once they can get that.
So Kopak, last ball of her second over. She's gone for 23 so far. She's gone for the short delivery. It's pulled. That's not timed, as it goes out maybe once, maybe twice to mid-wicket, where it's fielded by Cordelia Griffiths. So we've had 5 overs here. Essex winning the toss, electing to bowl. Not sure that's been a great decision so far. And Hampshire are 61 without loss, with Boucher on 25. And Ella McGacken is outscoring Maya Boucher. She's on 31.
So this top-tier women's blast, Birmingham Bears women, Durham, Essex, Hampshire, Lancashire, Somerset, Surrey, and the Blaze. Insisted on calling themselves that, not aligning themselves with the county. Basically Nottinghamshire, isn't it, the Blaze?
Yes, they are. Yes, they kept their name from the old regional era.
Those are the 8 sides, and essentially mirroring the men's blast with 14 games. And there are, as Kevin was mentioning, there are several double headers here. We've also got them, of course, at Chelmsford. The very first of those is going to be on Sunday. It's a midday start for the women, 4 p.m. for the men. Somerset are coming along, and that's certainly going to be well worth seeing. Looking forward to that one. Now, Gray, who started up, is back from the pavilion end and bowling, and that's clipped away nicely past the square leg umpire just for a single out towards deep square leg by McGacken, who I have to say is going along very nicely. 200 runs per 100 balls, 32 from 16. Can't say fairer than that. 25 to Boucher.
I think Brevis will look at that and thinking, I'm under pressure here.
Yeah, might not be the fastest scorer of the day. Where does he bat, Brevis?
He's starting. He's the whole competition.
All right.
He's one of the 2 South Africans. Luan Dre Pretorius is with South Africa A, delayed.
Still in the power play. 5 of the 7 are on the offside as Gray bowls, and that's driven. And even though there are 5 fielders on the offside there, she still found the gap, Boucher, just leaning into that, turning into a half volley and cracking it away to the extra cover boundary for 4. So obviously the ploy there, pack the field on the offside, but the bat's still good enough to bisect it.
Yeah, well, they're just in terrific nick, these 2, and it looks great pitch. Looking forward to this for later as well with the men. But at the moment, there's plenty of runs out there. We're just to the right of centre here as we look.
Yep, and here's Gray again from pavilion end running towards us, and this is pulled away. It'll just be a single. Lots of 1s and 4s here. That's hit pretty well, but Griffith had no problem in stopping that on the deep mid-wicket boundary. And actually, Boucher, he was quite a way well behind McGacken, not too far ago in terms of time, has more or less caught up with her, 30 and 32 respectively. 67 without loss in the 6th over. Hampshire women having been put into back. Really good crowd building up, no question about that. As this is a slower ball and clipped away and bisecting cover and extra cover. And again, this probably is just going to be stopped. I was saying we've had not much but 1s and 4s, and we're going to get a 3. And there may not be too many of those, but that was hit pretty well, bisected the field, but didn't quite have the timing to get to the boundary as the previous ones had done. And just held up. McGacken had to settle for 3. She goes to 35. Boucher back on strike with 30. 70 for no wicket.
It just feels like one of those innings where the shots that are hit out into the ring of fielders is just missing them. You get games where it goes straight at the fielders, not this one.
As this is driven away and it goes wide of mid-on. That's well placed. 4 runs. Placement was the key there for Boucher. Just got into line, and once it had gone to the right of mid-on, nothing was going to stop that. And unfortunately, from the Essex perspective, it's a very similar story, that the overs have all been more or less as expensive as each other, but unfortunately it's been sort of very relentless from the Hampshire batters in the way that they've taken advantage of anything loose. And of course, looking at this over, we've got a 1-4, 1-3, 4, so another expensive over as we coming towards the end of the power play here at 74 for no wicket. And this is driven away. Oh, almost got a hand to that, did Gray, but it's brilliantly hit, and it's gone down to the boundary, a straight boundary in front of the pavilion. 4 runs, 2 very firmly hit shots at the end of that over from Maya Boucher. Took her from 30 to 38, 1 wide of mid-on, 1 straight, not far away from the bowler, but very powerfully hit. And ominous for the capital O, I'm afraid, for Essex at the moment. What can they do now with the field settings relaxed a little bit? Very, very tough assignment for them here against a powerful Hampshire side. 78 for no wicket after 6 overs.
Yeah, it's just 36 balls effectively. Boucher 38 from 19. McGacken 35 from 17. Wonderful opening partnership to get this double-header here at the Utilita Bowl underway today. And it's going to be another bowling shake. It's going to be Maddie Penner, the Australian, who's around for the Sunrisers for the whole competition.
Indeed, I believe so. Yeah. And Adelaide strikers, I think she was in the side. They got back-to-back women's big bashes, and I think she was talking about that on the women's cricket show, which is on BBC Essex again this evening, in between these 2 games at 6:30. You can catch that on BBC Sounds as well.
So spin here in the form of Maddie Penner from our commentary end. It's a low full toss, worked away on the leg side by McGacken, moves on to 36, 79 without loss at the start of the 7th over. Dear Walt Brevis hasn't appeared on the balcony for a couple of overs or so. Probably has gone for a lie down. Going to have a pre-match snooze ahead of this evening. Field changing here for Maya Boucher. Now, my only worry about Maya Boucher is, and there shouldn't be a negative because she's playing so well here, but sometimes she just gets a little carried away when she's finding things so easy. And the way she's playing, she's finding things very easy out there as she works that length ball out into the covers, and there's no run. Because the reason I say that is because I mentioned that she's been playing for Hampshire women in T20 competitions since 2019. She only averages 26, would you believe? And for the Southern Vipers, averaged 23 in T20 cricket, and she's a much better player than that, and that's worked, not timed out to extra cover. She's a much better player than that, so it would be nice to see her go on and get a big total being better off the back foot. Again, she's found the fielder. Now this is just one of those overs where shots out into the ring of fielders has actually found the fielder, which we actually haven't had up until now. Always seems to have been a gap. McGacken goes up to speak to Boucher. Hopefully she's saying to her, look, don't worry, it doesn't matter. There's only 3 dot balls in a row. We've had a great start. Don't do anything silly. We're scoring quickly. It's on the back foot there. And she has found the gap, and there's 4 runs. Well, it's only a matter of time. It is a good wicket. I think the bowlers are on for a bit of a hiding to nothing here this afternoon. And Maya Boucher, once it's pitched a little short like that, isn't going to miss out. She moves on to 42. Hampshire onto 83 without loss.
Yes, indicator for both of the men's sides, of course, later on. What to expect, say, looks at a very good pitch. Usually get them here for the T20s at the Utilita Bowl, and this one's no exception. But again, this had been a pretty tight over until that shot, but batter having the class, Boucher, who really has, I mean, she really has exploded in the last couple of overs, Maya Boucher.
Last ball of her first over for Penna's cut away, and it's extra cover misfield. And they'll come through for at least one. They'll keep down to one, and Maya Boucher will keep the strike. 7 overs here at the Utilita Bowl. Essex win the toss, electing to bowl first. The opening round of fixtures for both these sides in this year's women's blast competition. And Hampshire are 84 without loss after 7.
Yeah, the Adelaide Strikers won the 22 Big Bash by 10 runs, beating Sydney Sixers, and then they beat the Brisbane 8 by 3 runs in the 23 series. So Maddie Penna very much at the heart of that, and hoping that, of course, she can bring similar success to Essex in this competition. But certainly high-profile name. Looking forward to seeing her bat later on, and she may have quite a few runs that need to be chased down. She's been with the Adelaide Strikers since the 2021 season, and in South Australia as well in the longer formats. So 84 for no wicket, and it's going to be Grace Shrivens to bowl. We've got some more spin from the pavilion end, right arm around the wicket bowling, and that's just played fairly gently by Boucher, I say, who's really exploded in the last few overs. That one just goes up to cover, but she was quite a long way behind McGuckin, and she's now 7 runs ahead of her partner, 43. Shrivens bowls again. That was a bit short, and it's pulled away. It is not timed, and Griffiths got a chance to stop that at deep mid wicket, and just the 1 run. So 85 for no wicket, but you feel that Essex have got to take wickets here to create some pressure, to stall momentum, and to try and keep this target below, well, the 200, but looks fairly inevitable at this stage. And it is a good wicket, but that's still going to be a very big target to chase. Shrivens bowls, that's just a little bit short again, and pulled out towards deep mid wicket. But again, it's just a single, it's not particularly timed, so just a little bit of control for Essex at this particular stage, but they need a lot more. And I say what they really need is wickets to stall the momentum. As this Hampshire side is down the pitch this time comes Boucher. She's looking to bisect that gap. She keeps hitting it to mid wicket. She's trying to hit it a bit squarer, but doesn't quite hit it hard enough to get to the boundary. And in the end, some good work between Gardner and Griffith makes sure that it's just the 2 runs. It didn't bisect them and go to the rope. And she has to make do with 2 and goes along to 46. Tight over so far. Shrivens again bowls, and that's just going to be a single. Again played out towards Griffith. They'll think of a second, but it's not there. It was hit with no pace. I think we'll see perhaps as the day goes on, 1 or 2 of those strokes with no pace. They often look for 2s. It wasn't quite there that time, but it's such a feature of T20 cricket. A little push into off the square and the call for 2, but only 1 this time. It allows McGuckin to get the last ball of the over and to collect a second run, as that's just wide of Griffiths, who's had a lot of fielding to do in this over. But that was a good over from Shrivens, and okay, it doesn't sound particularly exciting, but Penna's over going for 6 and Shrivens going for 7. A little bit of control post power play, but I still think from the Essex women's point of view, they do need to take a couple of wickets here. 91 for no wicket.
Yeah, they're on for a score of 200 plus the way they're going. Apologies earlier, and thank you everybody that messaged in the first couple of overs where you couldn't pick us up on the picture feed and also on the ground commentary. Kevin James and Nick Gledhill with you. The headline team news as far as Hampshire are concerned is that there's no Charlie Knott, and the reason for that is that she went on a few days holiday before the start of this game, and apparently her visa wasn't quite in order, and so apparently her visa comes back into being tonight, so she'll miss this game because of a visa issue, but don't need to worry because she'll be all right.
I was going to say,
next fixture.
she only went to New Milton, but no.
Is that right?
No,
Yes.
no.
Isle of Wight.
No, yes, that's right.
Yes. I know. Yeah, be careful when you go to New Milton. It's going to be Esme McGregor again. Right arm seamer from our commentary end then. 91 without loss. He's bowling to Maya Boucher, who pulls that away on the leg side along the ground, hard out to deep mid wicket. And Boucher moves on to 48. And Hampshire on to 92 without loss in the ninth.
Yes, I suspect that the resorts on the south coast and indeed in Essex, it's strange actually. We've got the half-term week after all the glorious spring weather, and it hasn't been great until today. Lovely day today.
Yeah, a little bit breezy, but pretty good. That's full on the leg stump. Now, somehow off the inside part of the bat, that's worked out to a fine leg. And McGachan is going to pick up 4 runs, and she moves on to 43. What a start this is by Hampshire. 96 without loss. They've been relentless out there, these two. Yes, there's been 1 or 2 quietish overs, but after 8.2 overs, this is an amazing start, scoring over 11.5 and over.
It is, and it always looked a tough game on paper for this new Essex women's professional side, in perhaps the most high profile of the competitions they're playing in this season. Not the easiest of games first up, but they still want a bat on this pitch. They'll be thinking of that, but they've got to make sure that they leave themselves with some sort of realistic chance when they do.
McGregor's just changed the field. Actually, fine leg is on the 25-yard circle. That's a slower ball, and it's worked hard out towards deep mid-wicket by McGachan. Good bit of fielding right on the boundary. And that'll be just a single. Maddie Penner out there away to our right, 97 without loss.
Tell you what, the England women's side playing West Indies today might almost emulate the men from yesterday. 245 for 2 in the 50-over match after 38 overs, England women, and Amy Jones 121 not out.
Whoa.
That's at Derby, which can be fast scoring.
Well, McGregor bowls. It's worked away on the onside by Boucher. It's going a little too quick out there to Penner. They'll get no more than a single, 98 without loss. Yeah, I had a message earlier to say our own Emily Windsor is doing a bit of TV work for a certain paid per view TV out there. Thank you for stealing that message.
Well, I hope they've got a good crowd there. And Derby not often in the spotlight in terms of international cricket, but again, half-term, hopefully brought out the youngsters, and chance to see the England women at a good traditional English county ground.
I watched the one at Essex the other day. The women's game, that's pulled away on the onside by McGachan. 45 she moves on to, 99 without loss. Well, it wasn't a comfortable win.
Another very traditional English
another traditional one, yeah. It was, I watched it. It was not on the BBC, but it was not on a pay-per-view TV channel. That's why I watched it.
I remember seeing the men's 50-over World Cup being played at Chelmsford in 1999. Has not been used too much since, sadly.
McGregor bowls with the keeper up, and that's worked up towards deep mid on, and that is 50 for Boucher, and at the same time it's 100 for Hampshire. Boucher's 50 coming up in 31 deliveries with 9 fours.
Yes, it was that period that it was lovely 50 from Boucher. I like the way she really exploded with some terrific shots and went past her partner, and showing all her experience. But yes, 1999, I think Chelmsford staged two matches in that Men's World Cup, and I saw Zimbabwe beat South Africa with Neil Johnson bowling South Africa out and effectively chucking in that tournament at the same time. Because of the way the results were. But that was a time, of course, when Zimbabwe were at their peak in the late 90s, early noughties, and hopefully there were a few good signs in that test match. They might be able to get their way back. Let's hope so. So Smale with a left arm spin bowls, and this is driven away out towards deep mid wicket for single. And, Griffith has had a lot of work to do. Has a bit more, but she's done pretty well out there. So 101 for no wicket. What can the Essex women do about this? They've got, they've got to keep it below 220, you would have thought. I mean, it's almost inevitable that Hampshire are going to get that sort of score, and then they're going to have to bat extremely well. But very hard to see Hampshire not getting that sort of 200, 220 score with 10 wickets in hand and more than 10 overs to go. Smale bowls, and that's just flicked round the corner to short fine leg. Could be a run-out chance here. It was a sharp single, because it was hit more or less to short fine leg, but in the end, good running, and Boucher got back to make sure there was no threat there from the throw of Eva Gray, who's there at short fine leg. But a short third, actually we got two short thirds really, or if you like, a very fine backward point and a conventional short third, and a cover and a very straight extra cover, and a short fine leg on the leg side, who's beaten by this shot, which is a good little sweep shot from Boucher, and they're going to come back for the second run on the throw, and they get there fairly comfortably as Gardner's throw comes in from deep backward square leg, and 2 more go to the total.
Very interesting. If you're watching the live picture feed, just watch Sophia Smale, where she starts her run up. She's literally right in front of the umpire, stump to stump. Look at that. Very
unusual. Just a few paces, her left arm spin, and that's driven. She almost stops it off her own bowling, but it's only going to concede 1 run. And again, this is not a bad over so far. 1-1, 2-1. Can she just keep them down to singles or 2s at most of these last couple of deliveries? 105 for no wicket. Very strong position though for Hampshire, almost at the halfway point. Here's a reverse sweep, and it's actually not perfectly executed. It's just the one run there. She was trying there, McGuckin, to hit that fine of the short third, but just got to put a bit too much bat onto it, and it went straight to McGregor, and they're only able to get through for the 1. So 106 for no wicket. Here's the last ball of the over. It's driven up towards long on for a single. That's a good over. In the circumstances, that's a very good over from Smale. No wicket, but I've got to say that Essex has been a better over than many of the ones that they've seen, and hopefully that can inspire the team for the last 10. But it's still looking like 215, 220 here, and you know, we could even be looking at more than that if Hampshire really come off. Boucher 55 from 35, McGuckin 47 from 25, 107 for no wicket.
Yeah, I've been told by the uber knowledgeable Alex Smith, who's sitting next to us, that Sophie Eccleston also starts her run up right in front of the umpire as well. So
isn't this a good crowd?
It's amazing, actually. Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm guessing 3,000, slightly under, maybe. Yeah, Alex agrees. So if Alex agrees with me, I know I'm pretty close. And there's lots of yellow shirts out there, Hawks tops, which is nice to see. Either that, there was a lot of Norwich fans. 10 gone, 107 without loss. Not sure how many Norwich fans. In fact, I say that, but cameraman Will, to our right, they do a lot of work for Norwich. I don't know if he's a Norwich fan as well. He's just looked at me. That's hit away on the offside by Boucher. Start of a new over from Maddie Penner, and that's going for 4 runs. Way to our left, 111 without loss. Are you a Norwich fan as well, Will? No, he's not. He just does all the camera work there as well. There you go. So there is a Norwich connection. Maybe he came down with a load of Norwich shirts that he'd been given at the end of the season, and is trying to flog them to the crowd. 5 at a time.
I can't remember much about Norwich in the last season. I know they weren't in the shake-up at the end.
Here's Penner then, from our commentary end, the hotel end, on the back foot, hits into the ground as Boucher, doesn't time that one. 59 from 37 she is, and McGuckin 47 from 25. Essex winning the toss, electing to bowl first. Hampshire yet to lose a wicket as we head into the second half of their innings. Sunshine still out as he comes down the wicket. Doesn't quite get hold of that inside edge. Now she's called through for a single, McGuckin. She's home. She's nice and quick, is Ella McGuckin.
One thing, it certainly is true. I mean, we obviously had a very nice spring. Hopefully the weather will continue to be fine, but it's not one of those years where we have a major men's football tournament dominating the June and July, so it gives a chance for other sports. Of course, there's a women's football tournament, but there's plenty of different sports available.
Certainly is. It's pulled away by McGuckin. There are 3 fielders out on the deep away to our right, and that's gone out to deep mid-wicket. McGuckin moves on to 48. And
although there's a feeling that this tournament still maybe starts a bit too early, it is in a nice little window where there's not, but it's got a chance to shine on its own right.
Certainly has. 2-month tournament, effectively. That's whipped away by Boucher. Now, I've lost the fly to that. Where's that gone? The umpire is just checking, and it's going for 4. It's gone for 4.
Yeah, deep backward square leg, very, very firmly hit, and got plenty on that. Goodness me, this is an intimidating opening partnership.
Isn't it just? Yeah, as Nick mentioned earlier, the finals day for this competition is the 27th of July. That's a Sunday at the Oval. the first eliminator, which is second against third. The group winners go straight through to the final. That's a hit away through extra cover. 4 more to the Hampshire total. Boucher moves on to 68. And Hampshire onto 121 without loss. Yes, this is a finals day for this competition, unlike the Knockout Cup, which was last Sunday, where it was 14 finals day down at Taunton, which Lancashire won. For this competition, the group winners go straight through to the final, and second and third will play in an eliminator. And then they will play the winners.
So it's effectively the same as the 100.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which often the theory is, are you better off going straight through or being battle hardened by playing the eliminator? But of course, both of these sides would like to be in a position where they have to make that judgment as to what they'd rather prefer. But yeah, a lot for Essex to do in this game. Just got to stick at it, but also got to try and keep these runs down. Attempted reverse sweep here to the first ball of the new Shrivens over is not successful from McGuckin, and trying to basically just flick that one away back out of square, but just rolled off the pad and went away for a single. So McGuckin stays 48, Boucher 68 is on strike. I think that was entirely off the pad, that one. Shrivens bowls, and this is clubbed away, and it's very well hit. Goes between mid-wicket and long on in the distance there for 6 runs. That's a terrific shot. It really has been a fantastic exhibition from Boucher. Just in those early periods, McGuckin sort of took the lead. I think she almost was sort of outscoring Boucher 2-1 at one point. But Boucher has just played superlatively since then. McGuckin's been happy to sort of almost play in her slipstream. It's been a commanding performance. 74 with that 6 as Shrivens bowls, and this is hit away into the offside. It's going to be stopped at extra cover. They just get a single. She goes to 75 from 42 balls. It really has been a tremendous exhibition, this. That was a terrific 6 that picked up very cleanly between taking on deep mid-wicket and long on and bisecting the two. Very powerful shot. McGuckin, 48 from 27. It's facing Shrivens now as again just still looks to go onto the back foot, club that away, looking to find that gap between the long on and deep mid wicket, and good bit of relay work, saves 2 runs there out in the distance. It's a tough scenario this, but I think it's Griffith and McGregor there combining to make sure that didn't go for 4, but that gives McGuckin 50 28 balls with 7 fours.
Quicker than Boucher.
Just shows how Boucher has exploded in that second half of her innings. 131 for no wicket, and down the pitch, and this is played away delightfully between the cover and mid-off. It's not quite timed as well as perhaps McGuckin would have liked, but in terms of the placement it was very good. She's just playing the shot again, actually, not totally happy with it, but the placement was pretty good. The timing not quite there, but it's still going to be a couple of runs. And this is turning out to be another expensive over with the 6 and a brace of 2s. As Shrivens comes into bowl again, and down the pitch here is McGuckin playing it out towards deep mid-wicket. Oh, that's a very good stop out on the boundary, saving 2 runs. And well, Griffiths has been in the field so much. She's done so much work out there. That was the outstanding bit of fielding so far. With the right hand, she's just stretched out and stopped that at the last moment from going over the rope, and at least making sure it was a 2 rather than a 4 at the end. But after a good first over, Shrivens there has rather gone the distance in the second. Both spinners with number 20 in 2. It's 135 for no wicket in 12.
Right, okay, a couple of milestones to point out. For Maya Boucher, I mentioned that she'd been playing for Hampshire women on and off since 2019 in 2020 cricket. This actually is her highest score in Hampshire colours. Previously it was 73. And for Ella McGuckin, who played 17 matches for the Vipers in the old Charlotte Edwards Cup, I say the old, it's only up until last year, her highest score was 42 in 17 matches, so already these two have reached landmarks as Kate Kopak is back into the attack. 2 overs, none for 23, short one, and Boucher ducks underneath it, but it's more to the total because that's a wide.
Well, a good idea for the bouncer in, a way of stopping the running, the scoring, but unfortunately judged by the umpire to be out of the batter's reasonable reach, and so another ball has to be bowled. Still 8 overs to go here. 136 for no wicket. 220 might be conservative estimate.
I was going to say this is a new competition record, but of course this is the first game, first round of fixtures. That's hit in the air, but safe over mid-on. That will be 1 bounce for 4 runs. Lovely shot once more from Maya Boucher. And that shot takes her on to 79 and Hampshire on to 140 without loss at the start of the 13th. I mean, no let-up.
With the opener still together, obviously they've got licence to go for everything, and it's very, very daunting this for the Essex women's side. We've just got to try and keep going and hope that something works out. Try and stick to the plans. They've got an extra person now, 5-7-1 on the offside.
Comes in again, length ball. It's worked to the short third by Boucher. No run.
Well, that was a minor win because they just augmented the offside field. Had 5 there, and it went straight to the finest of them. So, well, small victories. That's all Essex can achieve at the moment. But yeah, it's almost got to a stage now. Even a wicket or two, it's unlikely to really stall the Hampshire momentum.
So in the 13th, as Kopak, right arm over, comes in and bowls. She's followed Boucher as she moved to the leg side. She whips it around to deep square leg. And Boucher moves into the 80s. Got exactly 80 off just 45 deliveries. Hampshire on to 141 for 1. A reminder that Essex won the toss, elected to bowl first. I don't think they were quite expecting this. I don't think anybody was quite expecting this. You're never sure in T20, are you really? But once you've got the momentum, very hard for the opposition to stop it and wrestle it back as Kopak comes in again. Full, worked away on the onside. It's going to fall short of mid-wicket. 1 bounce through to Maddie Penner.
I mean, the one consolation for Essex is not a 50-over game.
Cool.
But yeah, just got to try and stick to the plans. Try and keep this down to something that at least they feel they've got a chance of chasing. It mustn't get completely out of control. We're talking about 230, 240 plus.
Here's Kopak again and bowls. It's whipped away on the leg side by Boucher, but again finds Penner at deep mid-wicket. And Boucher moves on to 81, 140 is a no ball.
Yeah, which is a shame because it's been actually a pretty good over so far. It's frustrating for Kate Kopak.
Free hit, you don't really want that. Slightly short boundary side on the leg side as well.
Boucher. So this is going to have to be outside off stump, you would have thought. Can't afford to give room for Boucher to swing it away over the leg side with no danger of being out caught.
So here we go then, and it's hit down the ground. Now, is it going to go all the way? Not quite. Fielded right on the boundary, right below us, but they will pick up per 2. That's Sophia Smale.
Yeah, and she did well there. And I think the Essex fielding has held up pretty well here. We talked about Griffith having a lot of work to do, but I think the fielding has held up pretty well under immense pressure.
Yes, it has. Everybody's under pressure in the Essex side, to be honest. Maybe not Amara Carr, the keeper. Maybe the only one.
Probably still feeling the pressure.
Mind, you don't want to drop one at this stage. Kopak bowls, that's cut away. All the fielders, that's a great stop in the covers. That stopped 4 runs. That might be Joe Gardner, I think.
Yeah, I mean...
Super stop.
It has been pretty good from Essex in the field. The frustration really is that they haven't been able to take wickets. But if they can take anything out of this very daunting little stint in the field at the start of this last tournament, it's the way the fielding has held up under pressure. But 147 for no wicket with 7 overs to go is a sort of a dream scenario for any team in a T20 match, where the batters have just got licence to do what they want.
Yeah, it is, and it is. You look at the scoreboard now and you think, oh yeah, we've got to get going. We've got to up it even more. But what you don't want to do is get into a situation where you lose your shape as a batter. Yes. That's quite easy to do sometimes when you think you've got to smack every ball now.
4-7-1 on the offside, 2 behind square. This is the first ball of Smell's new over, and it's driven away very nicely down the ground. And I don't think it's going to be stopped. It's hit between the just to the onside of the bowler. Smells dived to try to stop it, but actually it was very well timed. Long on could not get across. And McGuckin gets the Hampshire 150 up in the 14th over with pretty much a straight 4 down the ground. And they'll be looking really to get as many boundaries as possible, these two now. Will anybody else get a hit? It remains to be seen. Here is Smell. That one's just dragged down a little bit, and it's driven away through the covers, bisecting two of the offside infielders, and that's going to be another 4. That one was dragged down and just gave the chance there for McGuckin to get into position and thread it between two of the offside infielders for another 4. So 2 4s at the start of this over, 155 for no wicket in the 14th over after Hampshire was sent in.
A few of the children enjoying it in the crowd.
Smale, left arm spin, bowls. That's not going to be a 4, she'll be pleased. That's is only going to be a single as it's played out towards deep square leg. There's Joe Gardner. But it has been very, very daunting, this, to put it mildly. And what Essex must do, even if they don't win this game, because it's going to be a huge ask to win it from here, is to put up a good show later on this good pitch when they get a chance to bat. This is driven away up towards long on. Nothing's impossible, but they're going to be chasing an enormous target, you would have thought. That's another single. It's driven up towards long on. And Boucher and McGuckin still together as Smale bowls, and McGuckin here, that's going to be a rare dot ball. She's looking to work it away into the onside, doesn't make any contact, and not too many have actually got past the bat really. 157 for no wicket. But it is a good surface. Here's Smale again, attempted reverse sweep straight to the wider of the 2 short thirds, and actually it was a bit of a loose throw. It's a shame a shame for Smell particularly, because she'd really dragged it back in the closing part of that over after the 2 4s, and could have done actually without the run, which came about as a slightly loose throw, which wasn't particularly needed. It was an attempted reverse sweep that from McGuckin that she didn't particularly time. Went out to the wider of the 2 short thirds, and fairly routine bit of fielding, but unfortunately the throw was a bit loose and allowed them to get through for a single. But it was a good comeback that by Smell. 158 for no wicket, 6 overs to go. McGuckin 68, Boucher 82.
Right, another milestone to bring you. I already mentioned, if you missed it, this is Ella McGuckin's highest 2020 score. Her highest previously for the Southern Vipers was 42. This is Maya Boucher's highest for Hampshire women, which previously beat her 73. It's not actually the highest for the Vipers, but she's getting close there. But this is, this opening partnership, 158, is the highest of any partnership in any game in the old Charlotte Edwards Cup in the regional area of 4 years previous. So no other partnership for any wicket was as high as this. Here's McGregor then, Esme McGregor, right arm over and bowls. Bit of a floaty delivery, and she's bowled. There's the first wicket gone. Almost yorked herself there, Ellen McGuckin, as she tried to flip that away with a reverse sweep. And McLeod picks up the first wicket for Essex, 158 for 1.
What a fascinating delivery that was, because she changed her pace. It was, I think, much slower and took a lot longer to arrive than McGuckin would have been expecting, and it fooled her, and she was, in the end, has been dismissed. So that's come right out of the blue, and as I say, I think it was the change of pace and the slightly unusual nature of the delivery, which just floated up on the leg stump, which did for her, but a bit of a surprise against the run of play, but Essex will be delighted to have at least broken this record opening stand. But a very, very fine performance indeed by McGuckin. And, well, McGregor with an unusual delivery, say it's much slower than normal, just floated up, and but basically McGuckin beaten on the shot, and that was the end of her. So well done to McGregor for a belated Essex wicket.
Freya Kemp is the new batter, playing her first game of this summer. She got injured during the England A Tour, that very hastily arranged A Tour to Australia off the back of the horrible Ashes trip. She played 1 match and got injured. It's a recurrence of a back injury that she's been suffering for a few seasons now. It's quite incredible to say a few seasons, because she's still only 20. But she's played 25 T20 internationals for England, and she also gives the ball a bit of a belt. So it'll be interesting to see how she picks up things here as McGregor comes in and bowls. Kemp drives, not timed as it goes up to mid-off, and there is no run.
Obviously, she's I suspect Kemp isn't going to have too much time playing herself in here at 158 for 1 in the 15th over, but it's all credit to McGregor with that unexpected delivery. So got to a stage you've got to try everything, and she just floated that one up and managed to bowl the very set McGuckin.
Comes in, Kemp drives up to mid-off, hits a little harder, and it's misfielded. So she's off the mark.
Just in the last over or two, the fielding, which had been very good, just one or two little slips. So we had the extra run at the end of the last smell over, and then that was a slight misfield. But, well, tell you what, one run off the first 3 overs. That's one of the first 3 deliveries. That's a bit of a story in terms of the previous overs that have been sent down.
Here comes McGregor bowls, and Bouchier goes high. And is it going to go over mid-off? Maybe not. And no, not quite. Almost caught at mid-off, but it was a bit of a steepling catch there for the fielder.
Yeah,
who's that? That's Lauren Winfield Hill, wasn't it? Yeah, the player on loan from Yorkshire. And it was a bit of a tough one, really, because it's probably gone up in the sun a little bit, even though it's hazy cloud.
Thought she was going to get it. She was in position, and it would have been a terrific double strike for McGregor if she had.
Boucher's on 84. As she reaches for that one, giving herself some room, hits it out to deep point. Joe Gardner in the game again, out on the boundary. They'll take another one after hurry. Boucher dives in. She's home. Lost my breath nearly. I wasn't sure they were going to take an extra one there, and Boucher, I think, realised over the last couple of yards she might be struggling. Good throw from Gardner.
Yep, and 5 runs on a wicket in the over with 1 ball to go. Stop the 4 here, and Essex can chalk it up as a good over, and they stop the 4. Long on coming into the circle, so that means that we've got a fine leg going back.
In comes McGregor, then final ball of this over, and bowls. Oh, it's down the leg side, way down the leg side, and only half stopped by Amara Carr at the behind, but that was a horrible delivery, all round.
It's almost as if she was trying to replicate the first ball of the over, which was like came out of the back of her hand, but didn't quite manage it because it was sort of floated up again, but it was floated a long way wide of leg stump.
Coming up to 4 o'clock here at the Vitality. There's McGregor bowls. There's another reverse sweep, and she's hit that high over backward a point. That'll run away for 4. And Boucher moves into the 90s. And Hampshire, with 5 overs left, are 168 for 1.
Well, there you go. It sums up the Essex day, doesn't it, in this competition? We were saying stop the 4 for last ball, and it turned into a 5 because, of course, we have the wide and then the 4. But all credit to Boucher. This has been an innings that thoroughly will warrant being a century. She's 10 away, and she really has to show her class here. It's good batting conditions, but absolutely fantastic innings. And Kemp basically can just chip away and happy to give a strike to her partner with 5 overs to go, 168 for 1.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's Kemp's game, really. Just nudge it around for 1. She likes to get into the action, I can tell you.
She's got the option of doing both.
Yeah, she has. Yeah. She's got too many options.
Yeah,
too many options.
Nothing wrong with her taking singles and giving a strike to Boucher the way, but of course, she gets into her stride and gets herself in. She's only 1 from 2 at the moment, but of course she can be explosive herself. So 168 for 1. It's going to be Shrivens, Grace Shrivens, the captain, 2 overs for 20. Off spin from the pavilion end, bowls, and this is just back of a length and pulled, and it's wasn't quite stopped at mid wicket, but is stopped at long on coming in from the rope, and it's just going to be the 1 run. So in fact, Kemp has done what we were thinking. She's given the strike to Boucher, which I think is not a bad idea at the moment while she plays herself in. Boucher on 90. At 169 for 1. Kemp went to 2 with that single. We've got an extra fielder reinforcing the offside ring of 4. There's only a short fine leg, saving 1 on the leg side. There are 3 on the boundary, deep square, deep mid wicket, long on, and then long off. This is pulled away, and it's going to be stopped at deep square leg. They're looking for the second run. There's a bit of hesitation, but in the end, it's relatively straightforward, and they get back for 2. Anything that can be stopped from going to the boundary here now for Essex in this situation is almost like a bit of a bonus, because they've got to try and make sure this score's going to go above 200. It's a question of how far above 200 it's going to go. Boucher with the 2 goes to 92. And Shrivens just makes a field adjustment. She's going to move a short third to a short fine leg. That's Lizzie McLeod. Ring of 3 on the offside, saving 1. And this is an attempted reverse sweep, but he goes straight to backward point. And well, Essex just at the moment a little bit more control, touch wood from their point of view, but in this situation with 9 wickets in hand, just 3 runs from the first 3 balls, they'd have settled for that. Boucher 2 boundaries away from 100, he's on 92, and here she goes for a pick-up shot and is bowled. And that's a huge disappointment for the home crowd, because it's been a brilliant innings, but Grace Shrivens, all credit there, because she was looking for the big shot. She tried to hit one over the offside infield of the previous delivery, hit it straight to the field. So what she did there was backed away outside off stump, trying to hit it over the onside, but Shrivens actually got it through. Trying to play expansively, disappointing for her not to get 100 in front of a very good home crowd, but a fantastic innings. And at least Essex have 2 pretty new batters, albeit very good batters at the crease. But in the 16th over, Hampshire Hawks win 171 for 2.
Well, that's Maya Boucher's second highest ever T20 score. She was 1 behind her highest ever Southern Vipers score of 93. I think that was down at Hove a couple of years ago, if I remember rightly. It could be wrong, don't quote me on that. And actually 1 better than a 91 she made for England women. So a second highest.
Just a shame it wasn't 100, because it just very deserved to be, didn't it?
It was terrific entertainment, and that's what these games are all about. Whether you're on the receiving end or enjoying your own team, that's terrific entertainment. And Georgia Adams, the captain, is the next batter in.
Yeah, so no lack of experience in this Hampshire top order. Georgia Adams coming out. But what an over this has been from Shrivens. 3 runs and a wicket. There are 2 balls to go. It's 171 for 2. Shrivens from the pavilion end bowls her off spin, and Adams hits it straight to the short mid wicket. Now, just stop this being anything more than a single, and Essex will be delighted. Somehow they've got to find a way of stopping the boundaries here and keeping this as close to 200. It'll be the other side of 200, but as close to 200 as possible. If it's not the other side of 200, Hampshire will be very disappointed. 171 for 2. Here's Shrivens bowling again, and Adams works it away, probably for 1. It's not hit with great pace. There's a possible 2, but they decide against it, as the throw is has come in, and if they'd gone for the second, it probably might have been on. But in the end, that has to go down as a very good over for Shrivens. A wicket and 4 runs. 172 for 2 with 4 overs to go. Sure, Hampshire's still looking for more than 200, but just a mini fight back.
Yeah.
No more than that, but a mini fight back from Essex to give themselves a little bit of hope before their batting innings.
Yeah, that's the quietest over of the overs bowled so far, just those 4 runs. 4 overs left. Georgia Adams, who's been in good form in the 50-over competition as well, averaging 53. Over 260 runs in the 50-over competition this season.
It's going to be Kate Coppack, who's part of the presenting team, along with Kelly Castle and Joe Gardner, of the BBC Essex Women's Cricket Show, which is aired this evening at 6:30, available via the BBC Sound. So you might be able to catch that in between the 2 games. That's well worth a listen. Second episode on this evening at 6:30.
Gives Nick a break as well. Here's Coppack bowls, and that's cut away. They'll take a single, even though it's fielded at backward at point. Throw comes in, a little bit ropey. Adams has run a little too far through the crease to even think about a second. Both these batters out there have 2. 173 for 2. We're in the 17th over of 20 here at the Utilita Bowl. The first game of a double-header with Essex, the visitors, both women and men. The next game tonight at 7 o'clock. Live on the picture feed. Ground commentary, if they can get it working. It might do by then. Here comes Coppack bowls, and that's hit hard by Kemp out towards deep mid-on, where Lauren Winfield Hill fields. My word, she's going to earn her lone fee today if Essex get anywhere near this Hampshire total. 174 for 2 on loan from Yorkshire for the whole of the T20 Blast competition.
Yeah, very, very experienced player. And she's going to need that later.
Certainly is. 34 years old now. 44 T20 internationals, Lauren Winfield Hill. That's way down the leg side. That'll be a wide. As Adams watches that go by. 175 for 2.
Just a few wides and creeping in. But general trajectory in the last few overs has been much better for Essex.
8 wides in total.
Sure, Hampshire looking for over 200, but it's just a question of do they put the game out of the reach of the visitors or leave them still in with a chance.
Here comes Kopak Bowles, outside off stump this time. Adams works that out into the deep. Joe Gardner comes in off the boundary. He's done a good job out there. Has our Joe. I call it our Joe because she was actually born on the Isle of Wight.
Oh, right.
Yeah, even though she came up through the Northamptonshire pathway. Made her way through to Sunrisers as well. But yeah, we can sort of claim her down here. 176 for 2.
Yep, she's part of the presenting team of that Essex Women's Cricket show she mentioned.
Done a couple of commentaries with her actually in the past. It's quite good. Kopak into a 4th over, none for 39, the right arm seamer. Kemp hits that down the ground. That's typical Freya Kemp as well. A length ball, gives herself some room, lost it high over mid-on, and that's 4 runs.
Yeah, and now of course that Boucher's out, very much Kemp can take centre stage and play shots like that. That was a terrific straight hit, wasn't it, down the ground?
She's very strong, is Freya Kemp. Mind you, she's done so much strength exercises to try and work on her back that I think that's sort of worked her way around her body. She does strike a mean ball when she gets going. She's on 7, 180 for 2. Kopak runs away from us once more. And bowls. Kemp again gives herself some room, hits it, but there is a deep mid-on now. Couple of bounces. Fielded just below us by Lauren Winfield Hill. And Hampshire move on to 181 for 2 with 1 ball left of the 17th over. If you just joined us, just a reminder, the first wicket put on 158. Ella McGacken out in the 15th over for 68 off 39, and then in the 16th over Maya Boucher for 92 off 53, and that 158 partnership, the highest of any partnership in the regional era under the Charlotte Edwards Cup tournament formula. Here's Kopak Bowles, outside off stump, cut away by Adams. Again, Gardner's racing in from the boundary, and that will be the end of the over. 3 to do, 182 for 2.
Yeah, not too bad again from an Essex perspective. That clumping 4 down the ground from Kemp, but one thing I would say, I mean, this could have been pretty frightening from an Essex, this new team in their last match at a very, very difficult venue on a flat pitch, but they've held themselves together pretty well, I think. Again, there's still 3 overs to go, but just a question of can they maybe take a couple more wickets just to stall momentum. They've still got 2 relatively new batters in the crease. Just make sure that they're not chasing something ridiculously over 200. There was a chance earlier, it looked like it being 230, something like that, and that would have surely put the game well out of their reach. But they'll know it's a good pitch. Can they string together 3 overs here? They're probably going to have to take some wickets to really keep that score down. But what can they do? Gray is going to bowl. And this is a delivery which goes into the pad. There was an attempt by Adams to force it away into the onside. I think there's no bat on, well, a little bit of bat onto the pad, yeah, there was. So anyway, it's just the 1 run. It'll suit Essex at this stage. Anything that's 1s or even 2s, we're relatively pleased with. 17 balls to go, 183 for 2. We had a record opening partnership between Boucher and McGacken. It was really very good indeed. Boucher particularly. McGacken made the fast start, but Boucher was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. As this is driven away without timing, and Kemp actually looks to the floor after she plays that in slight disappointment. It's driven out towards long on, but she knows with the score at 183 for 2 as she played that. She was looking for a bit more out of it. You can see it, she's there at the non-striker then, playing the shot again. It wasn't quite what she wanted, but Essex will settle for a second single from the over, 184 for 2. So here's Gray again. Bowls from the pavilion end, driven away back down the ground. It goes past the bowler. That's very well placed by Georgia Adams. And once it had got past Gray, not much that could be done with long on trying to run round to stop that. The mid-off is in the circle. and that was powerfully hit, and Hampshire will be, well, not relieved, but after the third ball of the over to get a boundary. They were looking for at least 2 boundaries and over now in this situation. That was a good shot from Adams. Joins Kemp on 9, 188 for 2 in the 18th. Lovely day, wispy high cloud, very good crowd. I mean, this really is impressive. I think there probably could have been men's games played with less spectators than this, as this is a slower ball but well played for 4. That was good from Adams. It was an attempt just to use some deception by Gray with a slower delivery, but Adams was waiting for it and just played the sweep past short fine leg for the second 4 in the over, 192 for 2. So sort of 2 boundaries is really par for the course, you would have thought at this stage. Essex want to try and prevent them from getting any more in this over.
Yeah, good shot there. Didn't have to time it very well, just help it along.
Yeah. That was Lizzie McLeod there. Once it was past her, it was not going to be stopped. She actually moves to short third man, almost fly slip. There's a wider fielder, backward of square on the offside. It was like a backward point and a cover, saving 1. And this is another slower ball, but not as well timed this time by Adams, and it goes straight to short fine leg, and just the 1 run. Sophie Smell there is in line to stop anything more than a single. And if this is only 1, I think Essex will just about settle for that, with the scoreboard looking like this, 193 for 2, 13 balls to go. What they must prevent is an over that goes for something like 24, 26, because that could well spell curtains. Still feel that such a good batting pitch that they can make something of this when it's their turn. This is a big swipe across the line to another slower ball, and it beats Kemp's attempted shot over mid-wicket. Well bowled, because that was a good change of pace from Gray, and Kemp was going really to try and hit that very decisively into the shade-worn stand and didn't make any contact. So 193 for 2, a couple of pretty even over that, a couple of boundaries in the middle, but good for Essex at either end. Adams 14, Kemp 9, 193 for 2 with 2 to go.
Yep, just 12 balls of the Hampshire innings. And, the crowd has been steadily building during this Hampshire knock. I'm putting it at nearly 3. Nearly 3. It's certainly a healthy looking.
Well, look at the Ingleby Mackenzie stand and the Jane Warren stand.
You were saying earlier about some games not having this many. I've been to 1 or 2 North Group games in the past when the Southern Vipers were part of double headers, and I tell you, there weren't anywhere near this many for the men's game. As McGregor bowls, that's whipped away on the leg side by Adams. Bounces 2 or 3 times, 3 fielders converge. And Adams will pick up 2. She moves on to 16.
Yes, nicely placed that, because it could have been a catch for mid-wicket, and it could have been a catch for, it's actually almost a deep mid-wicket immediately behind, and it actually fell right between the 2.
I can see the blue double-decker fish and chip van is open for business. That's always a steady staple over there. People already taking advantage.
Tell you what, the food vans around the ground, they'll know there's a good crowd in there. There's this nice hour and a quarter gap, and they'll be looking forward to that.
That's for sure. How lucky are we get lunch and dinner today. That's the beauty of double headers. That's pulled away. Oh, that's going for 4. It's gone very fine. Walked across the stumps did Georgia Adams, and just helped it away. Very fine indeed. And she moves on to 20, and Hampshire on to 199 for 2.
Yes, Georgia Adams has gone to 20 in no time. That was not the best delivery from McGregor. Just lost a line. She's trying things out there, all credit to her for that. But that one just landed nicely, really, for someone of the experience of Georgia Adams. Was able to help it on its way around the corner for 4. And the short fine leg, well, once it was past that fielder, it was only going to be 1 result.
Esme McGregor again with her right arm medium pacers bowls. Adams works that away on the onside. That's the 200 up, which will get a good round of applause. They're going to run 2. They get in 2. Lovely dive from Freya Kemp. Watch that back, Freya. They don't want you going straight away again. So, good round of applause. And now I'm told Alex Smith has got all the stats. I've got some of them, but he's got the majority of some of these. So thank you, Alex. This is only the 16th occasion that a score of 200 plus has been achieved on this ground in any T20 game. That's internationals, men and what have you. Esme McGregor, there's another one to go with that. That's in the air and that's caught on the fine. Adams this time decided to just loop that one and it was in the air, and she goes for a very quick 22. Hampshire 201 for 3, and the other stat previously, the highest score on this ground for any T20 was women's, was 197, and that was England women against New Zealand last summer. So there we are. So there's been so many stats that I'm statted out already. Adams goes for 22 off 13.
Yeah, Kate Koppak, nice straightforward catch there. She wasn't going to drop that, just nicely into her hands. And McGregor, who's really deserves a lot of credit for trying a variations. Sometimes they haven't come off, sometimes they have, and she's got 2 for 37, which doesn't look too bad. Okay, she's going at 10 and over, but you come out of this with a couple of wickets to your name, you've got to feel as though you've done a job, and she certainly has. 201 for 3, just the one boundary in this over so far. There are 8 balls left, and I think a target now for Essex is to keep them. Well, they might be thinking about 215 as a maximum here. Just I don't want this sailing beyond 220. This could have been worse from an Essex point of view. I think we can certainly say that.
Could have been a lot better as well, to be honest.
Yeah, it could have been, but from where they were at one point, you're right, from the start they would have hoped for a lot better. But there was a point where I think it looked like getting completely out of control, wasn't it?
Well, but you know, Nick, and you've done a lot of these games in Soho Hive. It's very rare that a side keeps up a massive momentum for the whole 20. Isn't it? You know, there's always a little bit of a bump in the road somewhere along the line. Right, 2 balls left of the penultimate over. McGregor bowls, and that's hit away by Rhianna Southby. She's also been in good form for Hampshire this season in the 50 over competition. She'll pick up a single straight away. In fact, she played brilliantly at the start of the season in the tied game against Warwickshire for 72. She's averaging 39 in the 50 over competition this season.
Yeah, it's it has been very difficult, but as I say, just the one boundary off this over, and if she can keep it down, make sure there isn't one here, that'll be very useful.
Goes to Kemp. Kemp swings away on the offside. There's the boundary, wider mid-off. It was a leg ball. Kemp again just opened her body out, gave herself some room, smacked it away on the up, and that means the total for Hampshire moves on to 206 for 3 with 6 balls left.
It's strange, with that one boundary at the end there, given the other runs in the over, it probably makes it Hampshire's over, whereas it had been a pretty good over for Essex, which just shows that boundary on the last ball does make a big difference. So 206 for 3 with 1 over to go, and well, have Hampshire got too many already? Essex have got some good batters who can make an impression. At least they can bat to a plan, they'll know what they've got to get, and it is a good wicket, but it still looks daunting. Anything over 200 is always pretty daunting. Just got to make sure it doesn't get really out of hand in this last over. It's going to be Shrivens to take responsibility.
She has to bowl. She has to bowl this over. She's bowled 3 overs. Yeah. And she's only gone for an 8 and over.
Yeah, so
and everybody else has gone for either par run scoring rate or above.
And her first and third overs were pretty economical, because the second one was a little bit more expensive. But no, certainly spin in the last over, we don't often see it too often in the men's game. I mean, it's not unheard of, but here in the women's game perhaps a little bit more frequent. Latest England, by the way, 334 for 6 with 4 balls to go at Derby against West Indies women in that 50 over match. This is in the air and it's going to drop just short of cover and mid-off, but again, just the one run. Attempt to hit the ball over the offside infield, but didn't particularly time that one. Southby, who's new to the crease, but Kemp's on strike, which I think is useful from a Hampshire point of view.
She got away with that.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be a catch, but it sort of went tantalisingly between the two. But from Hampshire's point of view, it has got Kemp on strike, which, with Southby new to the crease, is probably a good thing. Now, going to have 4 in the offside ring, saving 1, so that tells us probably where the Shrivens delivery is going to be aimed at. She's also got square leg and a short fine leg. 4 saving 1 on the offside. Everybody else on the boundary, deep mid wicket, long on, long off. And this is hit away up towards deep mid wicket for a single. and it's 208 for 3. I just wonder whether they've got to put an extra fielder in the circle. Just as a thought, looking at...
Oh, it might do. It's only 3 out.
Yeah, that it is 4:21. So that's the thought there. It could be timed out. This is pulled away and is going to go to deep square leg, and they've just got the 1 run. Yes, I was looking at the field thinking that's odd. It looks quite an attacking field for 208 for 3, but they're forced to have the extra fielder in the circle. So actually, we've got 3 singles from this over so far, which, given the situation, is not too bad from an Essex point of view. Can Shrivens just keep this going? Get out of this over with 6. That would be quite an achievement. 209 for 3. So we've seen 3 singles. It's Kemp on strike, and she goes for a big swing. Oh, it could have been a stumping chance there. It actually goes out to Griffith, who's at just backward a square on the onside, but it's a dot ball. I wonder if that was a potential stumping chance. But my word, 3 singles and a dot ball. 209 for 3. Shrivens 1 for 27. 2 balls to go. It's bowling to Kemp, who's looking for these big hits, and she does get this one away, and it goes to deep mid wicket. They're going to come back for the second run. This is going to be quite tight, but they get in for 2, and they had to really run 2 to keep Kemp on strike. But again, not quite what Freya Kemp was looking for there, but she got it away. Not quite the timing, but got it away for 2. Can she finish with a big hit? That's what the home crowd will be looking for. Only 5 off this over so far. Here's the last ball, 211 for 3. As Shrivens bowls a flat one, it's picked up, it's going up towards deep mid wicket, and it's what Kemp wanted. It's 4 runs, not quite the maximum, but she got the placement right there, and that turned a very good over for Essex into a fairly even over, the last over of the innings. Really had been very good the first 4 balls from Shrivens, but Kemp just got away with those last couple of shots. She finishes on 20, Southbury 3, Hampshire 215 for 3. Could have been more. Essex would have liked it to have been a lot less when they won the toss and chose to bat, but credit to the openers in particular, particularly Bouchier, but also I think Essex a little bit of credit because they didn't let it get completely out of hand. And if they can make a good start on this flat pitch, who knows?
Right, thanks, Nick. So 215 for 3. Essex will need 216 to win this game, which is a tall order, let me tell you. So just to go through and remind you of the milestones that we had in that 20 overs. 158 for the first wicket is the highest ever in women's T20 cricket. That is the Charlotte Edwards Cup, the last 4 years of the regional era. Of course, we're only in the opening salvos of this competition. This is only the 16th time in any T20 game on this ground that a side has recorded a score of over 200. It is the highest ever women's T20 score on this ground. It is in fact the 5th highest ever T20 score, men, women and internationals, whatever you want to call it, on this ground ever. Ella McGacken with 68 from 39, Maya Boucher 92 from 53, Georgia Adams with 22, Freya Kemp was 20 not out, and the wicket takers, such as they were for Essex, McGregor finished with 2 for 42 from her 4, and there was a wicket for Grace Scrivens as well, 1 for 33 from 4. Right, myself and Nick are going to take a quick break. We'll be back with you in just under, I think it's 10 minutes or so. It can vary sometimes, and when we're back, we'll bring you live commentary of the second half of this women's county game between Hampshire and Essex.
See on the scoreboard, Hampshire posted a big total. The Hampshire Hawks reaching 215 for 3. The Essex reply will begin shortly. A reminder of the timing for the men's game, which will follow. The toss is at 6:30 and the first ball due to be bowled at 7 o'clock. A reminder that following today's T20 doubleheader, Georgia Adams' side face Lancashire Thunder away at Old Trafford before meeting up with James Vince's men at the Oval next Thursday for another doubleheader, this time taking on Surrey. The Hawks men return to Utilita Bowl 1 week from today to face Gloucestershire on Friday the 6th of June. And that is the first of 2 back-to-back Friday night blast clashes. The Hawks women also contest a home fixture next week against Durham at our outground at Arundel Castle. Tickets are still available for all those matches, however Ticket Plus is limited across a number of fixtures. If you wish to secure your place or find out more at our matchday information point or online at utilitabowl.com/T20. Today's Vitality Blast match day is sponsored by Connected Utility Services, who are experts in the utilities sector for over 20 years. CIUS pride themselves on a forward-thinking and streamlined approach from estimation right through to delivery. Head to www.cius.co.uk to find out more information.
Well, welcome back to the Utilita Bowl, where we are about to get underway. The Essex women's reply to that rather hefty Hampshire women's total of 215 for 3 in this opening Vitality Blast women's cup match. It is a double header today. Later on we'll have the Hampshire men and the Essex men. That's at 7 o'clock, but we're focusing on this game, and records all over the place. Just a few minutes ago, in that 215 for 3, we had the highest ever opening partnership in T20 cricket, women's T20 cricket, which includes the Charlotte Edwards Cup era. 158 put on by Ellen McGacken and Maya Boucher. McGacken 68 from 39, Boucher 92 from 53. It is only the 16th time on this ground a team, whether international men or women or domestic, has hit over 200 in 20 overs. It is actually the highest women's T20 score here ever, and also the 5th highest ever total on this ground. We're just getting our breath back. We've only had a few minutes break since that. I'm Kevin James. Next to me from BBC Essex is Nick Gledhill, and Nick very much hoping that Essex can get somewhere near, if not win.
Well, it's nice of you to say that, because you might not be saying that later on if it's a similar position. But, they've sort of kept a lid on it. It could have been worse, as I say. They would have wanted it to be a lot better when they won the toss and put Hampshire in. But what a little point when Boucher particularly was really going, where you thought this might just get completely out of hand and they'd have no chance at all. I mean, it's still odds firmly in Hampshire's favour, but there's nothing that a good start wouldn't do here, just to give the villagers a little bit of hope. Not the only big opening partnership of the day, by the way, the one we've seen here, because Tammy Beaumont 107 and Amy Jones 122 put on 222 at Derby for England's first wicket against the West Indies in the 50-over match. 345 for 6 at the halfway point. Very much, I'm afraid, like yesterday's game, men's game. You wouldn't have thought that the West Indies are going to get too close to that, sadly. Somerset women, who Essex play on Sunday, in a bit of trouble today. 131 for 6, and Surrey women are 74 for 1 in the 9th. So we will say is that even if Essex don't win this game, their opponents on Sunday probably won't be in the most confident form. And at Trent Bridget's, Warwickshire women 160 for 8, and the Blaze 60 for 1 after 8 overs, are pretty well placed there. Those are the other games going on. Right, so Shrivens and Winfield Hill on loan, and huge experience. So that's not going to be an issue. It's just a question of how do they go about chasing this sort of really big total. They've got to make use of the power play. It's going to be Gibb coming in from this hotel end with a straight approach, and actually bowls the ball on leg stump, which is flicked around the corner for a single. There is a fine leg, and that is Essex off and running, with Winfield Hill getting one on her pads and just helping it round the corner for a single. So Scrivens comes on to strike, and Essex are one for no wicket. Gibb just probably just looked to straighten their line up a little bit after that one.
Yeah, this is a big opening partnership for Essex as well. Scrivens 392 runs at 56 for Essex in the 50 over Cup this season, in fine form.
Yeah, and how does she go about this? Say, it might be that they've really got to go for it in the power play, hope that they come out of it with not too much damage in the wickets column, and then sort of plan a strategy after that. It's one of those where it's going to be difficult to just sort of try and build, because they're going to get behind the rate. So 5 saving 1 on the offside, 2 on the leg side. This is a short ball which is pulled by Scrivens without any timing. Maybe a bit fortunate there, because there were only 2 fielders on the leg side and there were none in the area that she hit it. Had there been a square leg, she probably would have held out there, but perhaps that was in her calculation when she went for the shot. But she gets a single, and both Essex batters have 1 apiece. It's 2 for no wicket. Hampshire made 215 for 3. We're in the first over, and Gibb comes into bowl, and that's a little bit of movement there with the new ball, and Winfield Hill just gets into line and is happy to play defensively back down the pitch, and there's no run.
Yeah, a little bit of in-swing there, late in-swing there for Daisy Gibb. I thought that the first ball, I know it wrapped to Winfield Hill on the pad, but I'm thinking you can bowl 2 or 3 balls like that, you might just surprise the experienced campaigner.
Indeed, that one certainly. Very good length and just a bit of movement. 5 saving 1 on the offside, a mid-wicket and a mid-on on the leg side, and this is on the pads of Winfield Hill, who works it away to mid-wicket, but there's no run. So pretty tight first over. And just a little bit of evidence of movement here for Daisy Gibb, as Essex women look to try to get a platform to launch a challenge at a target of 216. Always a very tough opening assignment this. It's played out that way so far, as Gibb moves in, straight approach bowls. This is pulled without timing by Winfield Hill and collects a single. So it has to be said that the shots Essex played in that over, there wasn't too much timing, but 1 ball to go. They've got 3 on the board from the first 5 deliveries. Let's try and get one out of the middle of the bat. That would be a good way to end this first over.
Yeah, it would, yeah.
Gibbs bowled well.
Yeah, she has, yeah, one of the up-and-coming players now for Hampshire. She's played 18 T20 games for Sussex, but this is actually her pro T20 debut.
And in she comes. That's a slightly slower one, and clipped away for a single out towards deep backward square leg. So 4 singles from the over. I suppose any over like that, particularly in the power play, Hampshire will be pretty pleased with, because of the total that they've got to defend. But Essex are 4 without loss, 216 the target, so a long way to go. But the 2 batters having a discussion about what their strategy is, and I think boundaries are going to have to be part of it fairly soon.
That's right, yeah, over 11 and over from here on in for Essex. It's a tall order, but they do have some firepower, especially the 2 out there at the moment. Lauren Winfield Hill with 44 T20 internationals to her name. The last of those T20 internationals, though, was back in 2022.
Yes, and she has played for so many different teams, hasn't she, in her career, particularly in the Big Bash. I think she's played about 3 different sides.
She's played an awful lot of cricket.
And of course in the 100, many of these players being part of the 100 and will be again in August.
Yeah. Freya Davies from the pavilion end with her right arm seamers. 2 blonde-haired bowlers opening the bowling for Hampshire. That's driven by Scrivens up to mid-off. And there is no run. Scrivens currently a holder of the Women's Big Bash title down under. She played 1 match for the Melbourne Renegades. It's just a 1 point. I presume that qualifies her for a medal. I don't know.
She does.
Right, yeah. She didn't bat in it though. She didn't actually play in the final. She played 1 match before that. I'd give her a medal. Anybody that appears deserves it. Left-hander Scrivens have whacked it away on the leg side. This could be a boundary. There it is. Oh, is it? Oh, nearly.
It is.
Very nearly stopped. Right on the boundary. Right in front of the crowd there. We'll give her a nice round of applause. That fielder there.
It's Kemp.
It's Kemp, yeah. Watch that back, Freya Kemp. A couple of times she dived in while she was batting. She's diving in the field there. She looks all right. She looks fine, running back to her mark. And the total moves on to 8 without loss for Essex. 21 years of age, Grace Scrivens facing Freya Davis. Scrivens works that away on the onside. This is certainly a boundary. I don't think Kemp's going to get there. No, she isn't. Doesn't put the dive in this time, and that's 4 runs.
Well, we said that Essex need to get boundaries as part of the equation, and this is a better over so far with those 2 fours. One of those situations where if you can get a couple of real crackerjack overs, 35 from 2 overs without losing a wicket, suddenly the complexion changes. But they're a long way from that at the moment. But they're being encouraged by those 2 boundaries, and Scrivens striking the ball well.
Yeah, a couple of good strikes there. Second one better than the first, but
yeah,
they're length balls which she picked up nicely. She's on 10 from just 5, and Hampshire have immediately strengthened that leg side boundary. The 2 fielders out, both on the leg side. And a change of direction as well as Freya Davis comes around the wicket. Bowls to Scrivens, a little fuller this time, driven up to mid-off, where Boucher fields. Boucher magnificent in that Hampshire
I
innings.
thought she thoroughly deserved 100.
Second highest ever T20 score for Maya Boucher, with 92 from 53, 1 fewer than she got for the Vipers and 1 more than she got in an England shirt. Freya Davis in again from that pavilion end, and Scrivens hits that in the air, and has it called to mid-off? It's spilled. Sure, that's spilled. Is that Georgia Adams there? She doesn't normally spill too many. She had to dive forward in the end as the ball just dropped on her.
I just think that might have been the key thing there, Kevin.
Yeah.
It just dropped on her a little bit quicker than she thought, I reckon. That would be a guess, but we'll get a replay on that.
So they've changed of field now as well for the right-hander Lauren Winfield Hill. Bit of a chat between Adams and Freya Davis.
Yeah, it looked like she was moving to it comfortably, and it just suddenly went to ground. She wasn't quite there and spilled it, and a bit of an escape there for Essex, because they want this opening pair to stay together for a while, build a platform.
Yeah, Winfield Hill then. She's only faced 2 deliveries. She's got 4. Here's the 5th. She picks that up away and it's gotten to the boundary on the leg side. Nice pick up there from Winfield Hill. It was a length ball again, just helped it away behind square. 4 runs to end the over. We've seen that a few times in this game, where a boundary has ended an over, and Essex are 17 without loss.
Yeah, that's a good over for Essex. 3 fours. We're pleased with that, and just part of the equation, as I say, to try and get at least 2 boundaries and over, particularly during this power play. Build a platform, try and keep wickets in hand, and then who knows, anything can happen if you've got a platform in T20. It's still a very, very demanding score to get 216. We talked about the record-breaking elements of it with Kevin a short time ago, but Essex were inside looking to give a good account of themselves here with the bat. As Gibb bowls again, and that is a reverse scoop, which is in an ideal place in the sense that it goes well clear of any field. I suppose when you play that shot, you're backing away outside the off stump and playing the scoop. You really want it to go for 4 because of a danger level, but it was 2, and that will do from the point of view of Scrivens. He goes to 13 from 8, 19 for no wicket, 216 per target. Talk about that magnificent innings from Maya Boucher. 92 from 53 balls. As this next delivery is a clubbing drive, not quite timed, goes out to mid-on, and Scrivens has to make do with a single there. She's probably a little bit rueful because was hoping to bisect the 2 fielders there and hit that away for 4, but wasn't quite there. So 3 from the first 2 balls, 20 for no wicket. We're in the 3rd over, and earlier, as I say, Hampshire 215 for 3, Boucher 92, McGachan 68. They put on 158 for the first wicket. And Esme McGregor 2 for 42 in her 4 overs. As this is an attempt to force the ball down the ground, but a little bit of movement from Gibb, and In the end, it's a play and a miss. We haven't seen too many of those today. Winfield Hill looking to try and drive that straight and didn't make any contact. So it stays at 20 for no wicket. Hazy cloud, blue sky, sun is out at the moment. It's sort of forcing its way through the haze. There is some blue sky around, but it's mainly sort of like a hazy cloud cover above at the moment as Gibb bowls, and this is driven away. That's just beats mid-off and possibly two. They've got the first, coming back for the second, and that'll be two for Winfield Hill. But think of a third, it's not there. That was well struck. It was struck well enough to get past the fielder there, which was Rebecca Tyson at mid-off. She might have got a hand to it, but in the end it was Georgia Adams who was back to retrieve, and two go to the total, so it's 22 for no wicket. Mid-on and a mid-wicket, the two fielders saving one on the leg side, the other big space other than that. This is played away and bisects two offside fielders. That's going to be four. That's a good shot from Winfield Hill. It was a wide ball from Gibb. She spotted it early and just with the outstretched bat has just played it away and found a gap in that strong offside infield and collected four. So this is turning into another useful over for Essex. Still a ball to go, but they've got 9 runs from it. 26 for no wicket in the third. Another boundary here would make it a pretty good start all round. It's a very, very daunting target, but Kevin, Essex are getting the start they had to get.
Agreed, yeah. I mean, that run rate hasn't gone much over 11 for a couple of overs, and that's what they've got to do. Yeah,
keep it as close to that. 12 is probably acceptable, but not that they get above that too much. As here is a delivery that's driven off Gibb to the covers, but there is no run. And the end of Gibb's over. With a name like that, you think, does she have any famous brothers or sisters? I was noting that Sophie Smell is the sister of Will Smell, who's played for Glamorgan, but I don't think Gibb's got any even with that name, has got any famous relatives. So 26 for no wickets.
Not that I know of, Nick. Not that I know of, but I haven't really asked her the question. Maybe I will when the time comes.
That would be something if she did.
Certainly would, wouldn't it? Yeah, I might be speaking to her a bit more if that's the case. Rebecca Tyson is coming into the attack.
Who also doesn't have any famous relatives.
No, she doesn't, no. She will be bowling her left-arm spinners, who made her Vipers debut last year, but didn't actually play in the T20. She made her debut in the second half of the 50-over competition. She's going to be bowling to the left-hander Grace Scrivens. Scrivens comes down the wicket, drives up to deep mid-off. Maya Boucher's got the job at the top end of the ground. Throws it into the keeper just to show everybody that she can throw a long way, which she can. It was on the full. 27 without loss in the fourth over. Just 189 to win from here. But that run rate has not increased from over 11 and over. It's staying the same, and that's about the max they need, really. Don't really want to get up to 13s, 14s. It gets a bit out of hand then. Lauren Winfield Hill, 12 from 9. Tyson's coming round the wicket to the right-hander and bowls, and Hill's off the back foot, finds the gap, has she? Or sort of. It's half stopped at extra cover by Freya Kemp again, who's on the floor. Stop going on the floor, Freya.
Saved a couple of runs there.
She
Certainly,
did.
we seem to see quite a lot of spin in the power play in the women's game, and it's been a pretty effective over so far. Keeping it tight, not giving away any boundary balls so far.
Tyson in again, sweeping away, it's wrapped on the pad. Ball trickles out to backward of square leg. I think that's Mary Taylor in there, is it? Or is it McGacken? One of the two, but no run, that's the main thing. Right, Nick, I'm just going to get you to just duck for a minute.
All right, there we go.
It's got to go round the table, Mr. Wilding, so you need to give me a bit more cable. Sorry, this is something that's going on in the background. That's worked up to mid-on. There's no deep mid-on, and around comes deep mid-off on the boundary. Maya Boucher can't quite... Oh, she has stopped it.
Good fielding.
That's great fielding. Certainly saved 4. I thought that had gone, and I'm sure Winfield Hill thought that had gone for 4 as well. But she picks up 2, and Essex move on to 31 without loss in the fourth. Another 185 needed. Tyson from the pavilion end comes in again, pass to Winfield Hill, full delivery, and Winfield guides that out to point. Daisy Gibbs running after it. The ball's going to win that one. That's gone for 4.
Yeah,
lovely piece of timing.
Yeah, that really was. That was a high-class shot. And Essex, after a good start for Tyson, just dragging it back a little bit in this over. Do with 2 4s and over, but what they've got 9 from the over so far. So we were talking about, you know, keeping this asking rate under control. 181 needed. 1 ball left of the 4th over.
Here's Tyson again then to Winfield Hill. He's clubbing that away on the leg side out towards deep mid wicket. McGacken's coming round, picks it up cleanly and keeps it down to 1. That's great fielding.
Yeah.
36 without loss. Yes, that's the end of the over. 4 overs gone.
So the power play for Essex going more or less okay. I mean, they were quite happy with 36 from 4, so 180 from 16. So again, we're looking at a rate of low 11s. Obviously, it's going to be tougher when Hampshire can put the field back, but these two will be pretty pleased with the start they've made.
Yeah, well, they after 4 overs, Hampshire. Well, I mean, they got out the blocks unbelievably well, 49. So they're not a million miles away.
No, it's a long chase over 20 overs with that sort of target, but they can't really feel that they could have done too much better at this point, and be very pleased. So it's going to be Davis, Freya Davis, coming into bowl, and that's driven with some confidence, goes through mid-off, and there's just the extra 1. It could have been worse from a Hampshire point of view, because it looked like it was going to go straight to mid-off, went through Tyson, but she got hands on it, and Adams backed up, and there was 1 instead of a dot ball. So 37 for no wicket, Winfield Hill 22.
Yeah, I think that was hit harder than Tyson thought there.
At least he got something on it. So a bit of an adjustment with the left-hander Shrivens on strike on 15. We've got 5 saving 1 on the offside, a mid-on and a short fine leg on the leg side. And here Shrivens hits this in the air. This could be a catching chance at mid-on, and it's taken. And nicely done that to, well, if there was a slight fielding error earlier in the over, Tyson more than made amends there. She got nicely into position and has broken the opening stand for Essex at 37. Bit of a miscue, and a wicket for Davis off her second delivery of her second over. 37 for 1, and disappointment for Grace Shrivens, caught by Tyson off Davis for 15, as Essex tried to get this 216, and Hampshire will be pleased to have got a wicket at that point.
Yeah, it's got a bit underneath that, and it wasn't anywhere near out of the middle of the bat. Bit of a loopy one, really. Just for Rebecca Tyson, it was all about getting into position early, then steadying yourself, and just watch the ball come over your shoulder. That's actually a really good catch.
Yeah,
we've seen those dropped quite a few times.
She had time to get underneath it, but she judged it really well.
Yeah,
judged it really well. Lizzie McLeod is going to come out. Still got, of course, Maddie Penner from the Adelaide Strikers on her debut. Interesting to see how she goes. She's in the middle order, but it'll be McLeod, the new batter. There's Davis back at the end of her mark, having got this wicket off her 8th delivery. She has 1 for 14, and she's going to come in to bowl to McLeod, who goes for a big swing across the line at her first ball and gets it away for a single out towards deep mid-wicket. Gets her account up and running. Winfield Hill back on strike with 22. Essex 38 for 1 in the 5th, but a good over so far this for Hampshire. It's the first time they've really kept it very quiet for a while, and overs like this are really useful if you can add them together when you're defending 215. Here's Davis bowling again, well pitched up, driven back down the ground, good shot, 4 runs. That's the shot of the innings so far from Winfield Hill, hitting it past the bowler. It was so fast in terms of the way it sped past Davis, she couldn't get a hand to it, and nothing that Georgia Adams could do in front of us to stop that, and that's dragged the over back a little bit for Essex. 42 for 1, and Winfield Hill 26.
This ball was in the slot, wasn't it? It was there to be hit,
yeah.
But my word, she put that
really
away
hit
well.
It hard. 4 on the offside and 3 on the leg side, saving 1. The 5th over, still in the power play. Davis bowls, well pitched up and hit away and just over backward point. It was in the air, and it's going to be well stopped actually on the deep backward point boundary, and saves a couple of runs. 42 for 1, becomes 44 for 1, and Winfield Hill 28.
Yeah, Ella McGacken out
That
there.
was well done.
She's doing the Emily Windsor role these days. Emily Windsor used to be a boundary patroller and running around like an absolute mad person, and it's now Ella McGacken that has those duties. Ball just hit just high and to the right of Abby Norgrove at backward point.
So, one way and another, Essex have got 8 off this over. 4 will be very useful to end it, but that's what Hampshire we're looking to try and stop with some fielding adjustments. They've got a long on back, they've got a deep mid wicket, and 5 of the 7 in the infield are on the offside as Davis bowls, and this is just outside off stump. Oh, it goes through cover. That's disappointing from a Hampshire point of view, because it's going to be 4. They would have been hoping for a dot ball there. Winfield Hill just getting it past the cover fielder, and couldn't be stopped by McGacken, and the first mistake she's made today, I think, and it's 4 runs. Turns that into a pretty decent over in the end for Essex. 48 for 1 after 5, with Winfield Hill suddenly down 32 from 18, and McLeod will have strike on 1.
Yeah, the secret to that shot was Winfield Hill's foot movement. She got well outside off stump, just leant into it. She was in full control of that shot from the word go. Beautiful shot. So, 5 overs, Hampshire had 61. So they are still behind Essex, but they are not a million miles away. Hampshire got away to the most amazing start here.
Does, I think, back up the thought that it's a pretty good pitch for batting, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah. Well, let's hope we see a good game this evening.
Yes.
Can't see Brevis practicing his shots. I think he must have left his room and gone over the far side. Maybe a pre-match meal. He was watching the women's game earlier. Would have been impressed with what he saw. Tyson to continue from the pavilion end with their left arm spinners. That's driven up to mid-off. They're going to run. In the end, fielder there, Freya Davis, decides to hold on to the ball rather than throw it. 49 for 1.
Well, what we'll say is Essex will feel they're in this game. They weren't really in the game while that opening stand was going on.
No, definitely.
But they'll feel they're in the game. You know, it's still a tough ask, but they're very much trying to put their case forward here, doing okay.
Winfield Hill to face Tyson. Comes in, goes for the reverse sweep. Has she found the gap? Yes, she has. That's running away for 4 runs. Don't bother chasing that one. And the Essex total moves on to 40. That'll be it's 50. Is it 50 up?
In the 6th over.
Yeah, 53.
So
53 for 1.
Decent progress. So 2 boundaries and over certainly required in the power play, but they're more or less going along at that rate. That's the first in this over.
Winfield Hill's 36 from 19. Good start made by her. Facing Tyson again. Comes in, sunshine here at the Utilita as that's cut away. There is a fielder out in the deep. That'll be a single. Freya Kemp is out there. Stands on her feet this time, picking that one up. 54 for 1.
Ultimately, Hampshire's theory here will be that if they can just push the rate up, they're going to produce mistakes, and that will be key to their success.
Tyson in again, flights that one, driven in the air but safe down the ground. Maya Boucher's coming round from deep mid off, but Freya Davis runs back, picks it up just inside the rope, and that is another couple of runs.
A little bit lucky there, McLeod, because it was a bit of a miscue, but just fell safe.
Played 1 match for the Vipers, Izzy McLeod, back in 2016. That was the old Kia Super League era. Just a single game. She's on 4 from 3, facing the next delivery from Bex Tyson. Bowls, and that's driven away along the ground. Again, Freya Kemp races in from the rope. She looks fresh. She looks like somebody that hasn't played much cricket recently. Moves on to 57 for 1 now, Essex needing another 159.
Yeah, it's another 9 off the over so far, so if there was to be a boundary here, it'll be another very good over for Essex, but even a 1 or 2 would be useful.
Certainly would. Winfield Hill back on strike. She's on 37. Here's Bex Tyson again. There's another reverse sweep. It's gone fine this time. Chases on once more, and the ball's going to win that one. That's Mary Taylor after that one. Can't get that one. That ball's always going to win that battle. And a good over. 61 for 1 after 6 overs.
Yeah, so we're talking about Essex needing sort of a couple of boundaries and over, because almost the other 4 balls will look after themselves because of the nature of the pitch. Are likely to be able to score relatively quickly. So boundaries are critical, and in this power play they've done well in that respect after a quiet first over. 61 for 1, so 155 needed. There are 14 overs to go. And the asking rate for Essex has actually barely changed from what it was at the start. It's just over 11s, and it was effectively that at the start of proceedings. So the 2 here will be pretty pleased with how this is going. Key for Essex is going to be to keep wickets in hand. Hampshire will be looking, now we're out of the power play, to bowl a couple of overs where we're not going for much more than 6 or 7, and that will then create pressure and perhaps force mistakes. So it's really a question of can Essex stop that from happening. Interesting to see how this goes. So, start of the 7th over. This is an attempt to pick the ball up and work it away over mid-on from Taylor's first ball. Is not successful, but nice slow delivery. McLeod unable to make any impression on that one, but she'll stay on 5. Taylor coming on for the first time, running her medium pace from the hotel end as we look on. She's running away from us, and she bowls. That one's floated up, and little push into the offside with no pace allows a fairly comfortable single. Taylor picks up in a follow through, a little flick throw, but there's always going to be one there. But it's a good start from Taylor here. So 62 for 1. And to say, a slight change now with this power play being over. We've got a deep cover, a long on, a long off, a deep mid wicket. So Hampshire obviously 5 in the circle, looking to try and stop the boundaries that have been prevalent in the power play after the opening over. Here's a reverse scoop, which is successful. It's going to go down towards the 3rd man boundary, and it will get there for Winfield Hill, who's playing a real blinder here. So much experience in her resume, as we were saying. It was almost easier to go through the side she hasn't played for, and she could be a very useful acquisition with her experience for Essex in this competition. That was just a reverse shot. Once it was past the infield, it was always going to go for 4 runs, so she'll be pretty pleased with that. 45 from 22. Now she's got herself in. You feel that Essex might need her to get 100 to be in with a chance of winning this game. As Taylor bowls, and again that's taken off her pads. If she'd missed it, it would have been LBW. As it is, it's gone for 4 runs to the square leg boundary. And what had been a good over for Taylor is being changed by Winfield Hill, who went across her crease, flicked that one away. I think she would have been stone LBW if she'd missed it, but she didn't. Got it away, and 2 good strokes. She's 1 short of a 50, 49 from 23, 70 for 1. Good game starting to build up.
Yeah, she certainly put Taylor under pressure in her first over. Only just recently returned back from injury. Mary Taylor, finger injury.
Born in York, Lauren Winfield Hill, where Essex have a game in the Championship at the end of June. It's always slower wide outside the leg stump. Well, credit for Taylor for sort of trying to think out of the box about what she might do there, but it didn't work. It was a slower ball, but unfortunately it was well wide of leg stump. So 2 fours followed by a wide after a tight start to the over. And another good over for Essex, even outside the power play. They've got the 2 fours, 71 for 1. This is on leg stump, and the attempt to sweep the ball. I'm not sure if that might have gone past the leg stump if it had been left alone, but it was close to leg stump anyway. Certainly felt she had to go for the stroke, Winfield Hill, but nothing came of it. Comes back to the bowler, and she stays on 49. It's a long career for Winfield Hill, those 44 T20 internationals that Kevin was talking about. And say a great list of teams that she has represented down the years. It's around about 12 years of her career. This is a drive, but she doesn't get that 50th run. Goes straight out to cover, so a couple of dot balls dragging it back there. Taylor, good start, good end to her over. 9 off it, 71 for 1. 145 required off 13. And again, this rate, which hasn't really moved too much, just a shade over 11 still.
Yeah, but they're keeping it there, which is not a bad effort at all here. We've certainly got a game on our hands for the moment, but it is a long haul from here. But Essex making a good fist of it so far. Just the one player out, Grace Scrivens. He was caught, well caught by Bex Tyson at mid-on for 15. That was 37 for 1 in the 5th. Georgia Adams on for the first time with her off-spin. She's taken over at the far end, taken over from Bex Tyson at the pavilion end, and bowls. Down the wicket comes McLeod and works that in the air. One bounce to Boucher, up at deep mid-on, 72 for 1.
Even if they don't win this, Essex are doing enough to give themselves, I think, some confidence going into the next game in the competition. This is arguably one of the tougher assignments they had. They'll play this team again, of course, at Chelmsford. But as I say, they'll feel after a pretty ordinary start, which I'm sure they would accept, against a very good opening stand. They fought back well.
Yeah, both these sides looking to win their first T20 game of the season. As that's swept away by Winfield Hill, and that's a half century, and in fact that's going for 4. That's nicely placed. Outside off stump, worked it behind with a sweep shot, and she moves on to 53, and that's come off 26 deliveries with 10 fours.
As I say, this 2 boundaries and over we've been talking about, if Essex can carry on getting that, almost the other deliveries look after themselves, because there are always going to be singles out there with the field set deep. So a boundary early in the over, very useful.
Certainly is. Around the wicket this time, Adams to Winfield Hill, who sweeps that away on the leg side again, in front of square this time. McGacken comes round, keeps it down to a single. 77 for 1 in the 8th over, another 139 runs to win from here.
Surrey were beaten Somerset by 8 wickets with 27 balls remaining at Taunton.
Well, Adams in again, bowls. McLeod drives up to deep mid-off where there's a fielder. 78 for 1.
So they will not be coming into Sunday's game at Chelmsford with huge confidence. The Somerset were inside.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier that both these sides haven't won in the T20. The Women's T20 Cup, the Tier 1 sides came in at the 3rd round stage. Hampshire lost to Surrey in a high-scoring game, or certainly a Surrey side. There's a wrap on the pads there as Winfield Hill was looking for a reverse sweep. It is called leg byes, but she's outside the line. 78 for 1. That was at Beckenham. Surrey making 230 there. Hampshire losing by 70 odd. And Essex lost to Yorkshire at Headingley. That's driven up the ground, fielded by Boucher. McLeod moves on to 80 for 1. That actually was, on paper anyway, a giant killing. But Yorkshire, as we know, even though they're Tier 2,
yes.
Their squad basically is a Tier 1 squad ready for next year.
They're going to be in Tier 1, aren't
That's
they?
right.
To next year, I think. But they're one of the sides that are going to be promoted, in inverted commas.
Yeah.
So only the 1-4 in that over. And that's a pretty good over, actually. So 80 for 1. 136 required in 12. Still the asking rate, just a shade over 11. It's been there for most of the innings, and the longer Essex can keep it there with wickets in hand, the more chance they've got. But we're out of the power play now, and it's going to take a lot to win the game, but they've got a good pitch and they've got a good start. 80 for 1. So McLeod is facing up, and this is going to be clubbed away. Tyson's come on to bowl, and that's a slightly loose delivery first up from Rebecca Tyson, and it's clubbed away between long on and deep mid wicket for 4. McLeod will be pretty pleased to have got that. That's going to perhaps get her going. So she goes to 12. Ideal start to the over for Essex. Just a little bit of pressure on Hampshire now. 84 for 1, 216 the target. We're in the 9th over. Tyson with her left arm spin bowls her second ball. It's a better one, but it's driven away up towards mid wicket, straight mid wicket. McLeod slightly frustrated. She was trying to hit that a bit squarer, I think, but there are some boundary riders out there. Long on, deep square leg, deep mid wicket. We've got a short fine leg saving 1. Nobody else saving 1 on the leg side. We have a ring on the offside of 4, which has just been strengthened from 3 to 4, saving 1. So that's all the way around from short third man, backward point, cover, extra cover. There's no mid-off, but there is a long off. Here's Tyson bowling. That one is hit away pretty well out towards a deep backward square leg, but I think there that McLeod was trying to hit that a lot finer, because had she cleared the short fine leg, it was there for the shot. She hit it a bit too square, just got the 1 run. So that was Winfield Hill there. So that's 4-1-1 in this over. Here comes Tyson again. This one driven away nicely down the ground. Could be caught at long on, and is. And that's a disappointment for McLeod. She goes looking for a big shot down the ground, didn't quite time it. And after a slightly loose first ball to the over from Tyson, she has got back for Hampshire with a big wicket. And one of the keys for Hampshire here is to keep taking wickets to increase the pressure on the visitors. So McLeod, caught by Maya Boucher, has had a very good day off Tyson for 13, and Hampshire lose their second wicket at 86 in the 9th over.
Yeah, if you're going to hit it in the air, don't hit it to Maya Boucher. 49 run stand that was between McLeod and Lauren Winfield Hill, and that came off just 4 overs. So they certainly got a move on that partnership.
Yeah, it was very good, and the only thing from an Essex point of view is sort of concerned with the wicket going down, momentum might stall, and this is surely going to be one of the key things for Hampshire to try to exert pressure by taking wickets, getting new batters at the crease. Cordelia Griffiths, plenty of experience from the Sunrisers, had a lot of fielding to do today and did so very well.
Yeah, you get the impression with Cordelia that she loves her fielding. There's 1 or 2 around the circuit that they actually look as though they revel in it. She's one.
So Rebecca Tyson gets a wicket. This is the 5th ball of her 3rd over, and she bowls a wide outside the leg stump to slightly block the copybook. But so 4-1-1. That brought McLeod back on strike. She got out, caught by Boucher, then the wide, and now Griffith facing her 2nd ball. And she pushes forward and plays a defensive shot, which she can just about do at this point. Can't spend too long playing herself in, but hits it up to cover, and there's no run. But a good comeback from Tyson after a 4 off the first ball. And she bowls again, and Griffith just pushes into the offside with no pace, and that allows, even with the 4 strong offside infield, that there's always going to be a single there with the ball being hit with no pace at all, and Tyson having to move a fair way to get to it. So that's a pretty good over in the end from Tyson. 1 for 31 in 3 for her. Griffith has 1. Winfield Hill surely is key here. 55 from 29, 88 for 2, and a further 128 required in 11. The asking rate is just pushing up a little to 11.6.
Yeah, and Cordelia's done Hampshire a bit of a favour by keeping Winfield Hill off strike, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's good Griffiths to face the first ball of the next over. She's back playing for Essex, Cordelia Griffiths. She was an Essex player between 2010 and 2017. She's back in Essex colours, looking around the field, ready to face the start of over number 10. 128 needed from here. As Mary Taylor switches ends with her seamers, and that's cut away, called through by Winfield Hill. She'll have to hurry here, but throw comes in from Daisy Gibb to the bowler's end, but Mary Taylor stops it before it goes anywhere near the stumps. Griffiths moves on to 2, 89 for 2.
Yes, that could have been a bit of a calamity for Essex. They don't want to lose another wicket here, and just keep building these partnerships. And I wonder, as I say, particularly if Winfield Hill can stay in, whether Maddie Penner might be able to produce something a bit special later on. The signing from the Adelaide Strikers.
Yeah, Joe Gardner. I mean, some
there's
good batting to come.
She's famous for her big hits. And
she is, yeah.
She likes to put bat to ball.
No Flo Miller though. Is she injured?
Not sure. I think this is pretty much the sort of side that they would have been expecting to. I'll try and find out.
I've seen her win a couple of games, certainly one against the Vipers in the past. She goes for a sweep there, gets wrapped on the pad, does Winfield Hill. Quickly from around the stumps. Oh, didn't touch the pad at all. Obviously bounced off the pads of Southby. Or the shin guards as they wear in this competition. So Winfield Hill is 55 from just 29. Facing Mary Taylor. 90 for 2 here in the 10th over. Taylor comes in right arm over and bowls. That's driven out on the offside. Fielder out deep is Boucher. Away to our right. She's fielded in about 3 or 4 different deep positions already.
It's still a big ask for Essex, but I think what we're seeing is the benefit of not completely giving it away in the field and be chasing 235, 240, which looked a possibility at one time.
Yeah, it did, yeah. A lot of runs in that first innings. That's turned away into the gap. May get 2 here. The ball literally lands just outside the 25-yard circle and they come in for 2. Kemp throws at the bowler's end and then immediately goes to ground. She can't quite believe that ball's missed the stumps.
Well, that's something we see a lot of, isn't it? The shot with no pace that gets the 2, and it's always a useful scoring option outside of the power play.
Certainly is. So 93 for 2. 3 balls left of the 10th. 123 needed from here. Griffiths to face, Taylor bowls, she's trying to work that away on the leg side, shout for an LBW, Winfield Hill calls Griffiths through for a leg by, and Daisy Gibb hits the stumps at the bowler's end, asking politely for a run out chance, and the umpire, the only signal the umpire gives is a leg by.
We are on BBC Radio Southern, BBC Essex, via the BBC Sport website and app, and also the picture feed, and it'll be same again just before 7 o'clock when we're back for the men's game. Which has got a good, will have a very good crowd to watch it, because it's a very good crowd here already. It's built up during the afternoon.
Yes, nice hum around the ground as Taylor bowls a slower ball. It's worked on the 45 on the leg side. Tyson throws to the keeper. Griffiths is home. Total moves on to 94 for 2.
We mentioned the food vending outlets. Looking across to the left, we can see a few of them. Not quite at their maximum business at the moment, but still with some customers. And of course, they're going to have plenty in about an hour's time when we get the break between the games, which I think is ready-made for these outlets. They'll be enjoying that.
That's for sure. Plenty of cold soft drinks would be nice. That's worked away on the leg side by Griffiths. Kemp comes in from deep mid-wicket. Hit a little stronger this time, so it's only a single. And that's the end of Mary Taylor's second over. She has 2 for 16. Essex are 96 for 2. They need 120 from here in the last 10 overs. You can work out that run rate. It's crept up to 12 and over for the first time.
It has. Essex still in the game. So it's been pretty spirited performance this, given the start they made. At the moment they're thinking we're not looking at going down with honour, we're looking at trying to win the game, and there's still a chance they can do this with 8 wickets in hand. 96 for 2, 120 off 10. Save. We happen to get a couple of very good overs back to back, talking about 40 odd from 2 overs. That would change the whole dynamic of the game completely. So we'll wait and see what happens. Here's Freya Davis bowling, and this is played into a gap in the offside, and there's a single for Cordelia Griffith, which gives a strike to Lauren Winfield Hill. 57 from 31. She's got a feeling she's in. She might need to make 100 for Essex to win this game. But it's 97 for 2 and 216 the target, after Hampshire made a very creditable 215 for 3, built around a huge opening partnership between McGacken and Boucher. Boucher so much deserved 100, but just fell 8 short.
Griffiths is down. Now she's up.
Yeah.
Oh, the physios were coming on, and now they're going off.
Yeah.
Weird.
Well, they're very alert physios. They were acting very quickly, but she seems to be okay. She's at the non-striker's end. So Davis, 1 for 26. She's in her 3rd over. She's running away from us. She bowls, and that's driven away without particularly being timed. And it goes to long on for a single. And Hampshire won't particularly mind singles. Well, just want to make sure that Essex don't get a flurry of boundaries, which could yet actually change the dynamic of the game, as you were mentioning, if they did. Tight start to this over from Davis. She's up to the wicket again. She bowls and just played away past the square leg umpire for a single. There won't be more than that. So this is pretty much, short of taking a wicket, this is pretty much short, just about what Hampshire would have wanted. Just the 3 singles. 99 for 2. Winfield Hill back on strike. Griffiths having gone to 7 with the last of those singles. Winfield Hill has 58 and will look to play a pick-up shot here, but again doesn't quite time it, and it sort of rolls out to deep square leg, and Winfield Hill bangs the bat onto her pad in frustration because she got that away, but she was actually thinking of a potential fall there and just got a single. 4 singles in the over. Good over for Hampshire, 100 up. 11th over. Davis bowls, and this is again an attempt to hit the ball away to the square leg boundary, but again it's not time. This time just another single to Griffith, pretty similar to the last stroke actually from Winfield Hill, and it means that we've had 5 singles in this over, so it's a good over for Hampshire. 101 for 2. Winfield Hill back on strike, and this will be the 6th single in the over, and it might just be entirely off the pad. Nope, there was a bit of bat on that, but a couple of overs like that back to back for Hampshire is going to change the dynamic in a different way, because it's going to push the asking rate up worryingly. Already it's gone up to 12.7 with just those 6 singles. Winfield Hill 60, Griffith 8, 102 for 2, 114 from another 9.
Yeah, 54 balls, so it's 2 a ball,
yeah,
which is very, very tough over such a long period of time. And you just get the feeling that Winfield Hill is a little bit frustrated out there, actually.
Yeah, she missed timing a couple of that over, and you can see her banging the bat onto her pad.
Yeah, and again, that's what we were saying in the first innings, that sometimes the rate can get just a little too much, and you try and hit the ball a bit too hard, lose your shape, and actually it gets a little bit more difficult. Ava Lee, the off-spinner, on for Hampshire. Played 1 T20 match for the Southern Vipers last year, so she's sort of fairly new to this form of the game as well. She's on at the pavilion end. Bowls. Winfield Hill hits that in the air, but safe. 1 bounce out to deep mid-wicket, where Freya Kemp is out there in the distance.
That's 7 singles in a row, and Hampshire will be absolutely...
Yeah.
Not cock a hoop, because they like a wicket, but I mean, in the equation of the game, it's just putting Essex further behind. They need a boundary.
So 113 in total from here. It is a tall order. Griffiths faces, Ava Lee bowls. That's cut away, fielded by Mary Taylor. Short at third. Score remains on 103. Crowd building. I say this is a good men's T20 crowd, let alone the women's crowd.
It's terrific. It really is a terrific crowd.
Here's Ava Lee again, slightly quicker this time, and that's hit without power, and she should be run out. Oh no, in the end Ava Lee misses the stumps, or does she in the end take it? But not sure, as she put her hand out where she knew where the stumps was.
Yeah.
Adams throws it in underarm from extra cover, and really Griffith should have gone.
Yeah, well, ideal thing would be to collect the ball and almost a flick throw. Would have been enough, wouldn't it?
I think she was just a bit further away from the stumps than she thought, Ava Lee. Anyway, that's definitely a run-out chance missed, as Winfield Hill gets wrapped on the pad. Now there's another chance, surely at the bowler's end, and that's missed from Rhianna Southby, who tries to throw the stumps down, and it is close, but not close enough. So there are lots of chances happening here now.
The only... some bits of good fortune for Essex, but the problem is there's been nothing other than singles now for 10 deliveries.
Yeah, just 3 runs off this over so far. Good over from Lee. She hits that in the air, but it's off an edge, and it's going down towards third, and I don't think Mary Taylor's going to get there. She doesn't, and maybe fortuitous, not where Griffiths was aiming, but she's got a boundary nevertheless, which is more than useful for Essex.
I think Griffiths, that's the right policy. I think, there's 8 wickets in hand. We've only got 8 overs left. We've got obviously Maddie Penner to come. I think with Winfield Hill playing the anchor role, she just really needs to give it a go, take a bit of a chance. And that came off, but I think that's got to be the right policy.
Yeah. 49 balls remain, 107 needed. Still very, very tough. As Griffiths faces Lee. That's down the leg side. It's worked to Bex Tyson on the 45, who stops it. And there is no run. So 8 overs left. Essex are 109 for 2.
Well, welcome into the
needing a
stand.
further 107, so the halfway point of their chase, but they've had
alongside me, James and Oliver.
12
one of them has
overs,
been here before,
so
one of them
it
has
just sums up that
bringing the friends
Hampshire
along
a
to
little
join
bit
the
ahead,
party.
but
James, are we having a good time so far?
Yes.
Not completely out of
Really
reach
good
of
time.
Essex
You
yet.
had some pizza there as
I
well.
think there
Did you
has to
enjoy the
be
pizza?
an element of taking a chance, and
It's very nice.
ideally
you've
they
got a
want
message for our
Winfield
Hampshire
Hill to
Hawks
bat
today.
through, but she just noticed that
Yeah,
she's getting a
come
bit
on,
frustrated.
Hampshire Hawks.
Maybe doesn't
Right,
want to
come
give
on,
her
Hampshire
wicket away.
Hawks.
Griffith equally valuable, but you feel one of them's got to at least one of them's got to really give it a go here, take a chance. Georgia Adams is going to bowl her off spin. She floats that up, and this is driven away, and it goes towards deep mid wicket and just past the field. It wasn't far away from being a catch, but Winfield Hill does get a boundary off the first ball, and that was in the air out towards deep mid wicket, but had enough on it and goes away for 4. She goes to 66, and it's 113 for 2.
It was a good effort, but
so we've got a deep square leg, a deep mid wicket, a long on, a long off. Those are the boundary fielders. 4 on the offside, saving 1, a short fine leg on the leg side. Adams bowls, and this is a nicely executed delivery which restricts the scoring options for Winfield Hill. She in the end punches it back past the bowler, and cover point moves in. That's just the 1 run, so it's 114 for 2. And it means that Griffith is on strike, and she goes for the big hit here, and I think that must be the right thing for her to try and do, and she gets it through long on and gets a 4. So that means it's 4-1-4 in this over, and Essex doing the right thing here, taking a few chances. They've got to get just get a decent over to beat the rate, beat that rate of 13 and over, and they're on course to doing it. 4-1-4 for the first 3 balls.
they're keeping it exciting.
Yeah, Griffith goes to 17. Signal from the umpire. Seem to be okay now. And here comes Adams again. That's floated up and driven away again. Oh, that's going to be possibly another 4. Is it going to be stopped? It is. It's a very good stop out on the deep extra cover boundary. Long off, running round to make sure that wasn't a 4. McGacken doing the fielding. But 4-1-4-2. It's a much better over this for Essex. 11 off it. Now, can they beat this rate of 13 and over? They've got 2 balls to go. Here's Adams coming in to bowl to Griffith. Griffith comes down the pitch and drives it away, and that's going to be 4. It's a brilliant shot. That's straight down the ground, and we're saying that Griffith, probably with Winfield Hill looking to bat through, needs to be ultra aggressive. She's doing it superbly, and Essex, with 1 ball left of this over, have beaten the rate, and that's if they can do that 2 or 3 overs in a row. I always think it's important that, and beat the rate 2 overs in a row, and you can change the context of the game if you keep wickets in hand. 124 for 2. That's 15 off the over so far. So 124 for 2, 92 to win. And here's Adams again bowling, and Griffith here drives. That's going to be a single to end the over. But it's a very good over indeed for Essex. 16 off the over. Now, if they can do that again off the next over, you've suddenly got a very different match situation. 125 for 2, 91 required from 7, and the rate is back down to 13, which doesn't sound great, but it's better than it was. 13 and over, and with 8 wickets in hand, you know, that just gives, it just brings them back a little bit, doesn't it?
It's not over. It's not over. It's not over by any stretch of the imagination. Hampshire, after 13 overs, were 147, so they still have a little bit of daylight between themselves and Essex, but Essex are making a great fist of this. With 42 balls remaining, they need 91. It's still a tall order, but they are in the game. And Ava Lee with her second over. First over went for 7. Could do with another one like that, Hampshire. And that's swung away by Griffiths. High in the air. Kemp's under it and takes a simple catch. Steadied herself, just watched it into the hands. And that's a wicket that Hampshire really needed, just to check that momentum, and Griffiths goes for 24.
Yeah, Griffiths, I'm sure, doing the right thing, taking chances. Winfield Hill playing the anchor role. Yes, that was hit a little bit. You wanted that a bit straighter. It obviously in the end went straight to Kemp, which was disappointing. But I think with 8 wickets in hand, it's definitely the right point for her to try and keep going, see if it can come off. And to a certain extent it did. 24 of 17, not bad at all. Now Maddie Penner, the unknown quantity if you like, new to the Essex side. And what happens here is going to be very interesting, and this partnership, you feel, Kevin, could be very instrumental in determining how this match pans out.
Yeah, well, all the players have got to go for it, really. They can't really hang about. That was a partnership of 39 in 5 overs, so it was slightly slower than the partnership between McLeod and Lauren Winfield Hill. That was 49 in 4, but nevertheless, it gives Essex still a bit of momentum, but they've got to keep going. They cannot afford a poor over. So, is it my over? Yes, it is,
yes,
isn't it?
yeah.
Ava Lee, then. That run rate required from here on in is 13, just over 13 and a quarter. So Maddie Penner, then, the right-hander, Australian, here for the whole tournament for Essex. Immediately off the mark, off the back foot. That's nicely timed up to deep wide mid-off. That brings Winfield Hill back on strike. In a game of a few milestones, Lauren Winfield Hill, who of course has been a regular for the Northern Diamonds and teams such as that, this is a high score if you include the Vipers in the regional era. As a reverse sweep, she misses that one outside of off stump, so that's a dot ball. High score against the Vipers in 7 matches was 65.
See what she's trying to do there, Winfield Hill, just missed out. There's two fielders back with a square on the offside and a pretty square cover, which she was trying to get over their heads.
That's worked on the onside. Nice shot from Winfield Hill, using her feet, goes quickly up to deep mid-on, and Penner wanted a quick second, but Winfield Hill deciding against it. Right, I've just been sent a text here. The official women's match attendance today is almost 4,400. Wow. A new record for a domestic women's T20 game at the Utilita Bowl. There's another record broken. That's Alex who's just sent me that from the Reporters Network. That's swept away, turned away on the leg side where McGacken fields down at deep backward square leg. 127 for 3. I've written so many things down that are firsts or even seconds or even thirds that there's almost too many to mention. If you've been following us the whole game, hopefully you can follow what's been going on as well. Here's Ava Lee, bows to Winfield Hill, sweeps that from outside of off stump. It's going back to McGacken, who's just had to watch that ball spin, which is always important at backward square leg. End of the over. That's a good over. And the total for Essex is 129 for 3 with 6 left.
Yeah, and the asking rate suddenly goes up to 14.5, and she got the wicket off the first ball, only conceded 4 singles. Very, very good indeed from Lee. 1 for 11 in 2 overs, really. Those stand out as figures on what's been a difficult day for the bowlers. So Winfield Hill trying to bat through, but Essex must not lose momentum, which Griffith was giving them. Now Penner, what she can do. She's obviously just got a couple of singles from 2 balls so far. Still Hampshire favourites, but again, if Essex can get a 3-boundary over, it'll just change the equation again. So we've got 6 overs to go, 36 balls, and 129 for 3 is the score. As this one sees Winfield Hill batting away outside. Oh, that was very well caught. Very well caught at backward square leg. And that could be a big moment in the game. Just going across outside her off stump, looking to play the scoop, but absolutely brilliant done by Taylor. And that's the end of Winfield Hill for 69. What it means is that Hampshire have taken 2 quick wickets off the first ball of this and the preceding over, and they probably must now be in the box seat to win the game. But 129 for 3 or 4 now with that wicket. And it is 4, yes, 129 for 4. You feel that's a big moment, a big catch and a big moment in the game, and a wicket for Gibb.
Well, I could watch that catch every day of the week. Mary Taylor, I'm not sure if that's the hand where she had a fracture on her finger. I'm just trying to picture when she showed me the plaster on her hand. It might actually be, but what a catch that was. How exciting was that?
So Jo Gardner, as you say, she likes hitting big. But you just get the feeling 2 wickets in very quick succession just brought the momentum back to Hampshire after that big Essex over. It really throw things back into the balance again. So Gibb, her 3rd over, bringing her first wicket, 1 for 13. 2 new batters at the crease now. Penner with 2 from 2, and Gardner taking strike. And here is Gibb bowling, and that's it's hit away down towards short fine leg, and they get through for a single. She wasn't sure where that was, but they've scampered through for 1. Don't forget, in the gap between this game and the next at 7 o'clock, Jo Gardner, one of 3 Essex women's players, who will be fronting the Essex Women's Cricket Show on BBC Essex, which is available via BBC Sounds. That's at 6:30. It'll just be ending in time for the start of the men's match. That was a good listen last week, so I recommend it. 6:30 for a bit of entertainment between the 2 games. Right, here is Penner on strike, leaving that alone outside the off stump, thinking perhaps it might be a wide, but it's not. So Gibb throwing a good over here, and you just get the feeling that last over with the wicket off the first ball with 4 singles. Now we've got a wicket off the first ball, a single, a dot ball. The pressure is really mounting on the Essex side. There's 33 balls left, still 86 to win. As Gibb bowls again with her briskish medium pace. That's driven away, but no timing from Penner up to mid-off. So she's not been able quite yet to really put bat to ball. Obviously new surroundings for her, and coming in and having to sort of score pretty quickly from the outset. But these could be two very telling overs back to back, particularly this one from Gibb. There she comes in again, up to the wicket with her medium pace bowls, and here Penner does get that away, not quite what she was intending. In the end, she's trying to play a bit of a hoik shot out towards a deep mid wicket, and in the end they weren't able to take.
She fell over.
She fell over, which meant that Gardner realised that it wasn't in position to take the single. So that's 3 dot balls in a row, and this is potentially a match-winning over for Hampshire. Wicket 1, ... Surely this has got to be a boundary for Essex. The asking rate is up to 16.7. These 2 overs back to back could be winning the game for Hampshire. Here is Gibb. Bowls again, full toss, clubbed away down the ground, and it's not perfectly timed, but it does go for 4. That's just dragged something back in the over, but it's still a very, very good over for Gibb. 5 off the over. Join that together with the Lee over. You've basically got 2 wickets and 9 runs, I think, by my calculation. 134 for 4, 82 from 30 deliveries at 16.4, and I think those 2 overs, barring something remarkable, have probably settled the game, but Gardner might still want to have another say at that.
That's right. Well done, Daisy Gibb. First professional T20 wicket. That's not a bad one to get, Lauren Winfield Hill. And after 15 overs, Hampshire at this stage were 168. Just to emphasise how difficult it is for Essex. 82 needed off just 30 deliveries. Somebody needs to go absolutely berserk here for the away side. Now, of course, there's double headers. It doesn't matter if you lose the first game, as long as the men win the second one, or assuming Essex lose this one. I suppose you all go home reasonably happy. There's Taylor. That's worked in the air, but safe up towards deep mid-on by Joe Gardner. Just a single. That's Maya Boucher at the far end of the ground, where she was scrambling away down here just a couple of balls ago in the previous over, so she's got a few steps in this game, including her 92 or 53 deliveries in the Hampshire innings. As Mary Taylor, right arm medium pace, comes in again from the pavilion end, and that's hit away on the leg side by Maddie Penner. Again, there's only a single there. I'm not sure Penner is running the first ones that quickly. I don't know whether when she fell over trying to play that pull shot off Daisy Gibb, she's just done herself a bit of an injury, because it looks as though Joe Gardner is running a lot harder than Penner is out there in the middle. Keep an eye on that. 136 for 4. In comes Taylor again. Slower ball, driven by Gardner up to deep mid-off. Single there. 137 for 4. So what we've got a 4 for an over, a 5, and now 3 singles from the first 3 balls of this over, and the asking rate is 17.6. Essex have got to do something very, very quickly now. It's escalating rapidly. Here comes Taylor again, gives herself a little bit of room, does Penner, hits it over extra cover, and I think that's running away for 4. It is up towards the Shane Warne stand. That's a nice looking shot from the Australian. It was. I mean, she's not entirely comfortable out there, but you know, she's in a new environment. She's going to have to sort of just take a little moment to adjust, but you can see the potential there, what she might be able to do for Essex in this competition. And we know about Joe Gardner. The concern is that it's just a little bit too much on this occasion. Taylor in again then, 141 for 4 bowls. Penner works that away, almost hits Gardner at the non-striker's end. Ball works its way up to Maya Boucher. Penner moves on to 12 from just 9 deliveries. 142 for 4. Essex need another 74. Winfield Hill's stats, 69 from 42 balls with 11 fours. Just perhaps has got a bit frustrated towards the end. Just wasn't quite timing it as she would have wanted in the latter stages of the innings. Last ball of the 16th. It's worked again up the ground to Maya Boucher by Joe Gardner this time. Are they going to run 2? No, they're not. Again, Maya Boucher in all the important positions out there on the field. And at 143 for 4, we have just 4 overs left. Yeah, 73 off 24 balls.
18.3. Hampshire will be very disappointed if they don't win this game from here, but it's been underlined that it's been a very good pitch. And it's not going to change character, I think, too much for the evening game.
It's good to see so many school children here as well. Half-term
as
week.
you'd expect, yeah. So it's Ava Lee, yeah. 1 for 11, and she certainly deserves another over. 1 for 11 in 2. She bowls her spin and misses, driven for 4. That's a good shot. That's a fine shot from Gardner, who, say, does like playing her strokes. She's going to have to produce a few of them. Could Essex produce the miracle over they need in this over? Well, that's a good start. 4 through the covers, lovely shot, good use of the feet. And it's 147 for 4, and it's 69 from 23. Here's Lee again. There's her right arm off spin, bowls, driven away. Good looking shot again, but straight to cover this time, only a 1. Trying to replicate the stroke there, Gardner, but hit it not quite as well timed as the previous one, and straight to Georgia Adams. So, Penner has a strike. 148 for 4. Here is a hit across the line out towards deep mid wicket, not perfectly timed, just gets the 1. Perhaps feels she's just missed out a little bit there. 2 boundary riders at deep square leg and deep mid wicket, looking for the potential catch, but so it's 4-1-1 in miss over, 67 from 21, 149 for 4, and Utilita bowls, and this is driven away out on the bounce to long off, just a single, and Hampshire will settle for that. So after that 4 off the first ball, although the Essex 150 comes up, there haven't been the subsequent boundaries that Essex surely need. Here is Lee again, bowls and just moving away to give herself some room. Penner tries to drive it through the covers, but see what she was trying to do, but it was straight to Georgia Adams. No chance of a run, and the over is getting better for Hampshire as it goes on. Lee again, bowls, and this is picked up and hit away over deep mid wicket, and that could be a 6. Yes, so that's just changed the momentum a little bit, and Maddie Penner, who's been looking really to get one away right off the middle of the bat, suddenly does it off the last ball of the over, and that makes it a slightly better over for Essex. Actually not quite good enough probably, but it leaves them with 3 overs to get 60 runs and 20 and over. Very unlikely, but just keeping themselves in with an outside chance if this is a very big over coming up.
Yeah, it's 18 balls left, 60 runs to win. Wow. If Essex were to do this,
Might win the champ, might win.
I was going to say, that would give you massive confidence.
I think they've already done enough to give themselves some confidence
Yeah,
into the
that's
next
right.
game.
There's Georgia Adams back into the attack. Down the wicket comes Gardner, drives it down the ground, and that split the field at the far end, and that's going for 4. Another beautiful piece of timing off the bat of Jo Gardner. She moves on to 14 from just 8 deliveries, 160 for 4, 17 balls remain, and 56 runs are to win. Normally you'd say that's right out of the question, but you certainly wouldn't rule it out on this pitch. But it is going to be tough. Adams bowls again. Gardner drives, but along the ground out to deep mid-off. Shouldn't be any more than 1. Are they going to risk it? No, they don't. Maya Boucher quickly around from mid-off. My word, she's covered some ground today, both right in the middle and around the outfield. 160 for 4. Gardner back on strike. Adams in again from that pavilion end. Swung away out towards deep backward square. Only 1 though. 161 for 4 the total now. 16 balls remain, 55 needed.
Looking at how Penner is moving, hopefully there isn't a problem for her there.
It's worked away out towards deep mid-on. Again, it's only a single. She's struggling.
Yeah, you could see that would be a huge disappointment for Essex if a new signing has sustained some sort of an injury. She's just hobbling a little bit.
Gardner back on strike. Adams bowls. Gardner swings that away on the onside. That's going for 6. Oh my word, she's got hold of that. Yes, signalled by the umpire at the far end. Really swung into that hard, low flat 6. And that takes Essex on to 169 for 4 now, and they need 47 from 13 balls.
Particularly as Penna is showing what she can do and how valuable a signing she could well be. I just hope that there's no injury there, because that was a fine strike. Can she do it again?
Swings that away. It's in the air. There's 6 more. That's a bigger one. Oh, well, she's having a good go here, Jo Gardner. Oh no, it's Penna.
Yeah, and this is worrying. She's really hobbling. This is so potentially upsetting from an Essex point of view, because quite clearly
So we
Maddie
have
Penna,
set
who
a
just took a
new
bit of time to
record
get herself
attendance
adjusted
for
into
domestic
the environment of
T20
playing.
at
She's playing a
Utilita Bowl.
terrific hand
Over
here, 32 from 15, but
4,300
she's
of you.
hobbling. And one just worries whether she has sustained an injury. Perhaps that moment when she fell over could be the problem. But what she's doing in this innings is showing what she can do. And Essex more or less got the rate there. They had to get 20 if they were to get the rate. They got 19 of them. Now, if they can get it again here, we've got a tight last over. 41 off 12. Here is Tyson bowling. This is hit in the air. Catching chance to long off. Taken. Good catch. That is McCacken. And that is the end of Jo Gardner. That was a very, very well-judged piece of fielding. And, well, those two were threatening something, weren't they? I mean, they're both obviously good strikers of the ball. But Gardner, you felt both had to stay, because we're both striking the ball well, even with Penna's. Now Penna's just had a little bit of attention. I think someone's just come out to have a word with her. Just hope that there's nothing too serious there, but it is slightly ominous. Just hope there's no sort of muscle tear there. So it's going to be Gray to come out to join her. Well judged catch, Kevin.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And that is another decent partnership. 46 in 4 overs there between Gardner and Penna. I mean, they've tried their best here, there's no doubt about it. 49 partnership in 4 overs between Scrivens, Lizzie McLeod and Lauren Winfield Hill. There was a 39 partnership for the third. That 46 is quick as well.
Second wicket for the left arm spin of Rebecca Tyson, who bowls a very full-length delivery here to the new batter Gray, who drives it away too long on. Eva Gray will get a single and Penna's back on strike. So 175 for 5, 40 required from 10 deliveries as Tyson bowls, and that swung away very convincingly for another 6. I tell you what, she's showing us exactly what she can do. The worry is, has she got herself injured? But yeah, you can see exactly what benefit she could give to Essex in this competition. That was just a little bit short, just swung away, and it was 6 from the moment it left the bat. 34 to win off 9. Penna 38 from 16, and that after a fairly quiet start, which was 2 from 4 at one point.
She's got to pitch it up here, Bex.
Here she comes again, left arm spinner, and this is hit away again, out towards deep square leg, and it's caught. That's the game over, I would have thought. And she basically went for the replica shot, but didn't quite get as much bat on it. And it's Norgrove, who's had a quiet game, but has taken an important catch. And Penna goes for 38 from 17. And she's walking off now. And let's just hope that there is no significant injury, because even if Essex lose this game, which is now I think very likely, we've just seen what potentially Penna can add to their batting lineup in this competition with that little cameo. 182 for 6, surely Hampshire are going to win.
Well, I shouldn't be relieved that her batter's got out, really, but I actually am. I mean, she has the potential to win a game and could have won this game on her own. It was still, a tough ask, but she's going to win you 1 or 2 games.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was interesting because she obviously took a few deliveries just to get herself... just to get herself and her surroundings. But she's got a bit of a reputation. She showed exactly what she was about, and it was encouraging. Just the worry is that the potential injury. Right. So it's going to be Amara Carr, who's on strike, and just plays that down to short fine leg. It could be a run out here. No, she's in, but I think the game is over effectively now, because it's 30. 4 required from 7 deliveries. Essex have given this a really good go. And Tyson was 3 for 39. Well done to her. And this is her last ball. Left arm spin. She bowls, and this is played away out towards deep mid-wicket. On the bounce, there's a single. Hampshire won't mind that. They're going to surely win this game now with 2 new batters in the crease. But it hasn't been certain that Hampshire are going to win until probably just a few minutes ago, Kevin, and Essex will take some credit for that.
Yeah, well, you've got big hitters down the order. I mean, Joe Gardner has always been a threat, and Maddie Penner looks like she is going to be. We haven't seen a lot of her over here, but yeah, if her injury's okay, then she's certainly an exciting prospect with a bat, that's for sure. But yeah, they've made a good fist of it. They really have, and I think what it is showing this wicket has the potential to be produce another exciting game later on this evening when Hampshire men take on Essex men starting at 7 o'clock. Freya Davis is entrusted with the last 6 balls. Now, as long as she doesn't overstep, it should be a formality, but of course it's not mathematically over yet, because
No,
6 sixes are 36. But it's
Tell
the
you
long
what, Penner
boundary
was still
side.
in. Penner was still in.
Well, it's right.
A few nerves.
But
But she was just hitting it off one leg.
Yeah.
What an impressive little cameo that was.
Right, it's a grey facing. She swings away on the leg side. Now, where's this going? It should only be 1. They might run 2 anyway, but 2 will be at best, and that's not exactly what Essex need.
It's fair to say that Essex haven't had the best of starts to their season, but I think they'll take a lot out of this.
Yeah.
Averted complete disaster really in the field by dragging it back, and then a good batting performance.
Yeah, only won 1 game so far in the One-Day Cup. That's a cutaway to backward a point. This really is now a formality, with Essex 187 for 6. Yeah, they've won 1 from 8. As that competition takes a bit of a break, they sit bottom of the table. Hampshire, on the other hand, have won 6 from 8 and sit top. So form has gone with the sides today, but
Yeah.
Essex will take a lot out of this, as will Hampshire, to be fair.
Yes.
That's nothing up towards mid-off, or are they? Oh, it was a late decision. Should be a run out at the keeper's end. That's a simple one. And it is Carr that is run out. Bit of confusion out there in the middle. They're not sure whether to run, not run, because the game's up. And in the end, it was a simple throw from mid-off, and a simple job for Brianna Southby to take the bails off.
Given it's such a good pitch, I think Hampshire will be quite satisfied with how they managed the Essex run chase. They probably would have liked a few more wickets early on, but obviously the rate was around 11 for quite some time, but there was a little string of overs, wasn't there, with the spinners in particular, and some good overs. I think we had an over that went for 5, and then one that went for 4, and there was a wicket in each of them. And you feel that was a real turning point. There was only that one occasion where Essex notably did beat the rate. Yeah. And you need to do that 2 or 3 times, chasing 216. So it's been a good effort by Essex, but Hampshire are going to be deserved winners, and they're looking good fettle for this competition.
Sophia Smale is the new batter. 3 balls to go. Essex need just 29. Smale works that up 2 extra cover. They'll take a single. Total moves on to 188 for 7.
Yes, it's one of those games where both sides can take something from it, and the hope is from an Essex point of view that there's no significant injury to Penner.
No, that's for sure. That's the concern from an Essex point of view. The only concern really is Freya Davis. I suppose you could look at the bowling, but it's been a high-scoring game as that's worked up to mid-on by Gray. She moves on to 6, 189 for 7, 1 ball left in the game.
I think we look back at the fielding performance. I think the fielding for most of the innings held up, but I think they were just up against 2 very high-class openers. Particularly Boucher's innings was an outstanding match-winning one.
Here, our last ball of the game, then Davis bowls, and that's swung away on the offside. It could be out caught, and it is. Oh, she's dropped it. Mary Taylor has put it down. I think she might have been put off by Brianna Southby running around at short point, but it doesn't really matter.
Tell you what, Kevin, that would have been a quite extraordinary end if 2 Hampshire fielders had collided with each other with a game already won, taken themselves out of the next game. Thankfully, it didn't happen, but I was a bit anxious for a moment there.
Yeah, you're right. So a 25-run win for Hampshire in the end, with Essex finishing on 190 for 7, with Eva Gray on 6 and Sophia Smale on 2. But an exciting first game.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyable. I mean, this terrific crowd. We talked about the 4,000 crowd. That's the sort of advert you want for this new integrated women's blast. You won't get, too many better games. A 400 game, and Hampshire were always favourites to win it, but Essex, until basically that penultimate over, were never completely out of it. Once they just started that little bit of a fight back in the field, which meant sure that Hampshire didn't get 230-240, which would have killed the game. And it just showed that even a score like 215 on this pitch could be something we can look at later. It still leaves the fielding side in contention when they bat, if we see another big score later on.
So very quickly, Hampshire with 215 for 3. Chief contributors Maya Boucher with 92, Ellen McGackin with 68, put on 158. A new record stand for the opening wicket, in fact for any wicket in women's domestic T20 cricket. There was a couple of wickets for Esme McGregor, but always a tall order for Essex, but they did make a good fist of it. Lauren Winfield-Hill, on loan from Yorkshire, made 69 at the top of the innings, or 42 deliveries with 11 boundaries. And Maddie Penner, the Australian, who looked to be in a bit of discomfort, but managed to club 4 sixes and 2 fours in her innings of 38 of just 17 balls. In the end, Essex falling 25 runs short on 190 for 7. We'll wrap up there, and we'll be back with you just before 7 o'clock for the men's game, Hampshire against Essex.
In the meantime, enjoy the sunshine. Celebrate the Hampshire Hawks' success in front of a record crowd here at the women's T20 at the Utilita Bowl. And look forward to the men's game starting with the toss and grab about half an hour.
Goodness me, an emphatic start to the Vitality Blast campaign for the Hampshire Hawks. What a win, everybody, against Essex this afternoon, and so much of that down to the performance of this woman, Maya Boucher, the woman of the moment. Congratulations to you. What a way to kick off this campaign.
Yeah, such a good win. Obviously, really nice to get some runs on the board, and at the top of the order with her was, it was a special 150 partnership, and obviously we need to win and put that away, and the bowlers did their job.
Well, Win, you have done so, and a word on this crowd as well, because it's been an electric atmosphere in here this afternoon.
Yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. We can't thank the fans enough to come down and support us, and it's amazing just to see everyone supporting the team, one team, one club. So yeah, up Hawks.
And we've seen other Hawks indeed. I like that. That's a new hashtag. We've seen you play many a time on this ground over the years, but I mean, you looked excellent out there. Did it feel as good as it looked to all of us in the stands?
I came off and I said that was pretty ugly, but actually it came off.
I don't think it was, just an FYI.
No, I felt really good. Just kept it really simple, and something I worked on is batting through that middle overs and just being really smart with how I've gone about it. And yeah, I'm chuffed.
Listen, congratulations. Something just flew in your eye. What's the plan tonight?
Watch the men's game, support, and maybe have a couple of drinks.
Good stuff. I think you've earned them. Everybody, Maya Boucher, congratulations. Right, we'll let you get off. You go have those couple of drinks. All good. Oh my word, Izzy. What a start to the Vitality Blast doubleheader this afternoon. Look, they're already getting ready for the men's game behind us as well.
What a start indeed, and the cricket's certainly not done it here tonight, and lots going on around the ground as well. The family fun zone, lots of food and beverage. You and I eyeing up an ice cream as well.
I'm thinking it might not be a terrible idea. I'm thinking that also, I would say as well, I don't know if you can see on the screen, I am looking a little
you the toss live beforehand, and for now, Robbie and I are going to go and get an ice cream.
Let's do it. Come on, you're buying.